you want to call the roll, please?
Mr. Anderson,
Here.
Mr. Kashani.
Here.
Mr. Jardina.
Here.
Mr. Kosel,
Here.
Mr. Malta,
He's out, he's absent.
Mr. Mixel,
Present.
Mr. Artuso,
Here.
Mrs. Maltman,
Here.
Mr. Taylor.
Here.
Okay, we've, again, it's a pretty lengthy agenda here this evening, so I'd like to just keep moving things along. We can get started, I suppose, here. What's the first one? You got it there, Mark?
Yeah, the first one is, there's three tabled matters tonight. The first one is
Yeah.
Shoecraft Road Apartments located at 1048 Shoecraft Road. Applicant Shoecraft Road Apartments LLC is requesting sketch plan review associated with the proposed construction of 4 10-unit apartment buildings on a 5.20 acre parcel located in a medium-high residential district under sections 269-5 and 350-14 of the Code of the Town of Webster.
Good
Yes,
evening. Link Swedrock with BME Associates. Also with me is Nick Gracios from Gerber Homes, and Bruce as well. We're here tonight to a continuation of a sketch plan. We were here last month to talk about the sketch plan on 1048 Shoecraft Road for 4 10-unit buildings. And the property is approximately 5.22 acres, located on Shoecraft Road. And basically, we introduced the project at the last meeting, and we got some feedback from the board regarding, there's an existing house that's here, that we looked at the option of subdividing off that house from the parcel. And what we did was we proposed a new lot, Lot 1, which would be 1.07 acres, and applied the setbacks to it. And then we ended up with a 35-foot setback, the 10-foot setback, and the 35 setback from the existing barn, the existing house, and then that area. We applied the building setbacks to the single family. When we did that, we were left with about 4.15 acres for the remaining lands of the back for the 40 units. Which, when we reviewed that for code, there's some code things that pops up. There's a 5-foot minimum, or a 5-acre minimum lot size for the multifamily. There's a 50-foot setback for the parking area off the back of the single family, or off the back of that house. And then the density would go from the 8 units per acre to 9.6 acres. So I think the board, originally the conversation was, let's look at doing this as a single family lot and then see what you might be supportive of doing the variances for us to build the project in the back. So we looked at that, and then we went to the PRC meeting and we received some feedback on, we're not sure that you would like to do that and support the variances. There was some comments about maybe we just leave that as one parcel and continue it on. I brought both plans with me, the one that shows the subdividing and then the one just that we brought in before that keeps it as one parcel. We would just leave the house, or that we would just leave the structure in the front as a part of the project and have the 4 10-unit buildings in the back. So I think what we're looking for mainly is to get the feedback on the 2 options from the board so we can get some clear direction on how we should proceed. The other thing that came up, so the big thing in the PRC was the variance discussion. If we try to do the single family house, whether we would want to try to go get variances or whether we would just want to leave the single family house on the same parcel. The next thing that came up was, we had a discussion about doing some amenities for these residents, and we've discussed doing pickleball courts, benches, and a dog park as part of the project. And then there was also some comments about the turnaround being, right now we are trying to do a dedicated turnaround to end that road to the town. I know that the town, I believe Highway Superintendent has some comments about somehow segregating the entrance from the turnaround. So I think we're looking just for any feedback on all that to see what next steps would be and try to get your feedback where you would like to see the project go next. And I have John and Bruce here to help answer any questions that the board has.
Okay. Before we start, just for the folks in the back, I was sitting back there the other day for a meeting and I was having a hard time hearing the board. How is it back there? Can you hear or is it tough? Kind of low? It is? Need to be picked up? You can or can't? I'm the loudest, I guess. No, I'm just kidding. Just try and get yourselves a little bit closer to the mic if that'll help. I know the town board meeting the other night, I was sitting in the back there and it was difficult to hear. Okay, with that, so, okay. I'm sorry? You can't hear me?
No, we can't hear what you're saying. The screen is up in front of you now, it's cutting you out, okay? And then you get your head down, we can't hear you. We don't know whether or not the mic's still on, I can't hear.
Yeah, they're on.
They're all the way up.
Okay, we'll just have to do the best, we'll just be conscious and just get closer to the mic. Hopefully that'll work. Okay, with that, so your comment was any questions? Anybody, any questions on this? My concern was the town tax department wanted to separate the parcels, I guess, am I right with that so far?
We discussed it with I'll let you.
Yeah, I
Okay.
talked with the assessor today, and she said there's really no concern with leaving the parcel as one. They just do, it's just a little harder to assess it for them, but it's not an issue that they can't solve. So they've done it before on other parcels in town.
Yes, it does exist, but it does create a number of problems when issuing addresses, emergency response vehicles, and things of that nature. So although the assessment department said that they could do that, it is the town planning and zoning office that recommends not going in that direction.
To keep it separate?
To keep it
Separate
separate. How
parcel.
many units are in the existing house?
It's currently a 3-family, but the upstairs unit, there's just a door in between the 2 units, so it's basically one with a door that they just have a padlock on.
Yeah, so it's essentially already a multifamily property and adding 4 additional apartment buildings with a 1048 Shoecraft Road address when you're not accessing the development from Shoecraft Road would just be a nightmare on a variety of levels that we'd like to avoid.
Okay. Okay, you've got 40 units, and, you know, again, this came up at the PRC. You're needing variances, they back right up to the buffer. There's no amenities in there, there's, what do you got, 2 parking spaces, a garage and 1 in a driveway, correct? Additional parking, is there additional parking here for visitors, or?
We have some additional parking shown along here, along the entrance, and then each garage has a spot in front of it, as well as a garage for each unit.
Do you feel this is overcrowding that parcel? I mean, I'm gonna ask that to the board. I mean, if you look at it, there's really not.
I do.
Huh?
I think it's cramming. Seems like they're trying to cram a bunch
The 4 of
in
them
there.
are in there, and they're all meeting the, you know, the setback requirement. They're right up against the setback requirement, I should say. The 50-foot buffer.
So you have 40 units, how many parking spaces are there altogether?
Well, there's a garage for every unit and a parking spot for every unit. So each unit has 2 spaces.
And that's all? There's no other parking
Plus
spaces?
some overflow parking in the front along the access drive, and we can add some more as well. I mean, it's a sketch, so we're looking for input, and, you know, we'll incorporate your comments into our next stops here. We have a 24-foot road in the middle. We've tried to provide, you know, enough room for a car in front of the garage, as well as a garage space for each unit. The reason that, you know, some of the reasons that maybe we're getting pinched a little bit is because we're trying to keep the lot with that house on it, we're trying to keep everything, it's fairly spread out with the driveway, the
Yeah,
We're trying to make that lot conform as much as we can to the setbacks. So maybe there's a combination of both that we look at, that maybe it's putting the barn on the multifamily project and making that, incorporating that into the multifamily portion of it and subdividing it differently. We were just trying to keep that sort of the way that lot is operating together with that lot. Like I said, we just sort of tried to draw that line where it made sense to create that lot based on the zoning, and then keep that sort of together. But I think there are other options that we could consider for subdividing off that structure and, helping with, if you're concerned with the density variance. I mean, the overall density of the site at the 5.22 acres allows for the density that we're proposing. At 8 units an acre, we're allowed 41 units. So we would be looking to do the 40 units plus just having probably 1 unit in the existing structure that
So
we
you
would be
do-
running out.
but if you separate, see, if according to engineering, if you separate the house, leave it separated, and then use that as a separate parcel, that leaves you 4 acres of land with 40 units. You need 5 units per acre. That would be, you'd need 5 acres, so you're like an acre short for the number of units. I see what you're doing. You've got a plan. I mean, you're making it work on paper.
It
My,
seems it really should
my
be
concern
reduced.
is this is gonna have to go to the zoning board for variances, and it's gonna be up to them whether they wanna approve it. But I'd rather see you make some changes on that. What's
I'd
that?
rather actually see instead of 10 units per building, knock it down to like 9 units per building, so that
You bring it
up front
closer
it-
into conformance,
it brings in the conformance.
or make a
And then-
smaller building, one of the buildings there, and then use the additional space for, or either way, Derek, yeah, you're right, either way.
And it's interesting to find
that
out
way you
that,
could-
too, that the existing building has multiple units to begin with,
Yeah.
so that's.
What I'm looking for is to get some open space in there.
Yeah.
Somewhere for parking and somewhere for some activities. I know older people live there, well, doesn't mean we just sit on the couch all day long either, so you wanna have something for them to do.
Yeah, we
What's
can
the-
add
what's
those
the-
amenities.
Some sort of an athletic thing out there.
Yeah,
whether
we
it's-
can add some pickleball courts and some
You know
other
what I mean?
amenities, which we talked about briefly.
But
I
the
have
way
one-
this is, you can't, there's no room.
there's some room to add some space for some amenities.
What
I-
is the garage currently used for?
What was that?
What is that barn you currently use for?
It's basically empty at the moment. The guy who owned the house originally has some storage and a little wood shop in there, but we're just letting him use that as is for now.
Is there anything special about the barn?
Not really.
Is it an original barn, or is
There's
it,
nothing special about barn except for it's in really good shape. And it's part of the history of the town. That's one of the things we were trying to incorporate that as it is and try to keep it there for the aesthetics of the home. But if that's gonna be a hurdle, then we'll have to make other arrangements.
Looks like a good barn, actually.
The roof is as straight as an arrow, really is. It's been very well kept over the years.
Well, board, any suggestions, what do you think?
I'd actually rather, to develop it, I'd rather see the number of units reduced to meet the density requirements for the parcel.
Okay.
Because this is really, putting it in the back like that, it's too much stuff jammed in one place.
See, the backyards, actually, they go right up to the buffer.
I do have one question for Josh about the 2 tax parcels versus 1. Are there no other projects in town that have 2 addresses for the same tax parcel? We've got property in other towns where we have, it's all 1 parcel. We've got 1 road address and a different road address for the same parcel, so I'm just a little confused on that one.
Is that for a multifamily development?
Yeah, we've got 24 units in Ontario that have the 2 addresses.
And do they access the development from the same road?
They do, but they got two different addresses, so it's kind of like the roads intersect, one's on this intersection and the other one's on that, so I just wasn't sure if that's uncommon.
I mean, we certainly do have examples where there's multiple buildings on a corner facing two roads with the same address and different uses. Yeah, so it's not unheard of, but again, it just complicates a lot of things from the town's perspective.
Okay.
Is there gonna be a centralized area for trash, or does each individual unit have its own trash receptacles?
We can do it either way. Currently, we have it shown as one trash area, kind of in the middle, but if you guys feel strongly one way or the other, we're willing to make a compromise either
Whereabouts
way.
is it located?
Repeat that, please?
In the back, center in the back there.
Yeah, in the center and the back.
So that's big enough to accommodate 40 units?
Sorry, excuse me.
That's big enough to accommodate 40 units?
I believe so,
refuge
yeah.
area.
It's a compactor area with a, you could probably get two enclosures there if you need to.
Going back to the Shoecraft Road, just for a second, excuse me. You're going to have independent contractors, I imagine, bringing in materials, supplies, et cetera. Will you emphasize to them not to use Shoecraft Road as a shortcut? Because traffic on that road is bad enough as it is already.
Can you repeat the question? I couldn't hear it.
With the independent contractors that you're going to be using,
Yep.
will you emphasize to them that they cannot use Shoecraft Road as a shortcut? Because
yeah, we-
traffic on Shoecraft Road is hellish already.
Yeah, the only access will be from the main entryway. There won't be access through the Shoecraft entrance to the single-family house. They don't connect the driveways, and we'll make sure they don't use that entrance.
Okay, I think bottom line is maybe take a look and see if you can get some amenities in there. If you need to take off a piece of the building, just work it out. I think as far as the project, it's an allowed use. It meets the requirements, you know, for the area. But I think it's just too congested, and I'd like to see some amenities. That's my opinion anyways.
I think they need more parking spaces too.
Well, that's part of it, yeah,
Okay,
that's part of
alright.
the amenities is.
I guess one other thing that would be a clarification for the rear setback on existing parcel where the house is and the barn. Is that rear setback, is that supposed to apply to the silo too or not? It shows a silo on the back side of the barn, but that's within the setback area. It's not a livable structure, it's a leftover farm.
It's behind the barn there.
Shows up on the plan, the site plan on the back side of the barn. Is that subject to the setback
Yeah, it's,
requirement?
we took the 35-foot setback from the barn. We didn't go to the silo there.
I guess that would
But
be,
also, if it makes sense for this application to look at a different way of subdividing that rear lot line for the single family that, you know, helps with our density calc for all, overall and everything, and puts that barn on the other parcel, I think we could look at that if that makes sense to the board.
yeah, I'm personally just looking for a clarification as to whether or not that silo would be subject to the setback or not.
Okay.
Technically, it's a structure, so it would.
So that parcel really should be a little bigger, technically. It would move to the other side
Or
of
we,
the silo.
remove the silo.
Or get just get if you could possibly get a variance for the silo, that, I don't think that would be an issue. It doesn't really
Yeah, it's just-
impact
No,
doesn't
no.
impact the apartments nor the single family, so it would be a simple variance, I think, for that. I think that'd be the easiest thing to
Yeah.
resolve.
Just the concrete or something.
All right, anybody, anything else? Derek?
I'd love to see less apartments.
Get some openings,
Yeah.
some open area in there, yeah. Okay, with that, I guess we okay, fellas? Want to go forward with that? You're set up for the zoning board next week, right?
No, we didn't apply for any of the
Oh, isn't it? I
variances.
thought
We
it
wanted
was.
to,
Oh, okay.
we wanted to come and
Yeah,
get your
alright.
feedback before we did that.
Hate to, change things around, but it's just, it's dense, bottom line.
I think we understand. Yeah, any other questions? Okay.
You wanna make some changes in it? Make an attempt to fit something in there, do whatever way you feel is acceptable to the town, to the board? Do that, and we'll go with that, okay?
Okay.
All right, thanks a lot,
Understood.
fellas.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, Mark, why don't you, what's your second one you got there?
Second table matter on the agenda tonight, Waterview, excuse me, Apartments Phase 3, located in the northwest corner of Willow Point Way and Nautical Mile Drive. Applicant Legacy Development Company Incorporated is requesting sketch plan review associated with a revised proposal to construct 6 two-story buildings consisting of 56 total units and 1 community center on a 13.15 acre parcel located in a medium-high residential district under section 269-5 and 350-14 of the Code of the Town of Webster.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. I'm Chris Nadler, General Counsel for Mark IV Enterprises. Here with me today, we have Chris DiMarzo, President of Mark IV and owner of the Waterview Phase 3 property. Also David Cox, our design engineer from Passero Associates. Tonight, we're here for sketch plan review. We'd like to briefly review the history of the project, give you some background, go over our current proposal, which, as you know, has been significantly reduced and made to be more in keeping with the neighborhood. We'd like to review the materials we've submitted for our full site plan application, go over the review process and where we are in it today. Then David Cox will talk about some of the technical details of the project and will be available to answer any questions that the board might have. At the conclusion of our sketch plan review tonight, we'd ask the board to declare intent to be lead agency for seeker and make a recommendation to the Zoning Board of Appeals, where we're going to appear next week at this time. And then after going to the zoning board, we'll come back for site plan approval. As you know, this project was approved for a 7-story, 158-unit apartment building in 1986. That approval was well-known to everybody in town, and we've pursued it over the years. We've come back with reduced versions of the project over the years. And in August of this year, we came back with a proposal for 2 3-story apartment buildings with 90 units. After meeting with this board, the zoning board, and hearing comments from the public, we went back to the drawing board, made significant reductions, and made an effort to make a project that fit with the neighborhood. What we're proposing now is 2-story townhouse-style buildings, a total of 56 units, each of which will have its own garage, its own driveway, and own private entrances, clubhouse, and sport courts. We do need some variances, which are similar to what already exists in the neighborhood. Our driveways are about the same distance to the right-of-way as the current Waterview Phase 2 and Waterview Phase 1, which is the homeowners association. So we'll need some front setbacks from the zoning board. And we'll need a residential buffer between zoning districts. The one we're proposing is similar to the buffer between the existing Phase 1 and Phase 2 of Waterview to the existing residential zoning district immediately to our north. We've submitted a full set of site plans and site plan application to the town. We've submitted seeker environmental assessment form, a traffic report. We've attended a few PRC meetings with town staff. I know Pastor O has a few revisions to make based on our most recent meeting with the PRC. We're here tonight for sketch plan review. We're going to go next week to the zoning board and come back in December for site plan approval. Again, we'd ask that this board declare intent to be lead agency, commence its coordinated review, and make a recommendation to the zoning board regarding our variance requests. David, you want to talk about some of the technical aspects?
Yeah, I'd still like to just highlight some of the reductions that we've done from where
Can
it
you hear
started
him?
out.
Does he need to be
You
talking?
might have to use that microphone, though.
Yeah, let's steal from over here. So in 1986, it was a 7-story building. And then in 2016, we came back with a revised 5-story building, same configuration. August 24 came back with a 3-story building. And then our current proposal now is a 2-story. So 7532, that's like a 70% reduction in the number of stories. Units went from 158 units down to 98, down to 90, and now we're at 56 units. So once again, in that 65 to 70% reduction in number of units from where the first approval was. And then total building square footage. We were at 233,000 square feet. In 2016, we were 144,000 square feet. August 24 was 112,000 square feet. And now proposed is 76,000 square feet. So once again, another 65 to 70% reduction in the number of square footage for all the buildings on the property. So stories, units, total square footage, all a drastic reduction that we've done. So we, when we were here last time and went before the zoning board, we really heard, can you reduce the heights of the building? Can you reduce the size? Can you have it more in keeping with the neighborhood? So that's when we went to the drawing board and really the surrounding area and the surrounding properties, it's the townhouse style buildings. So it really looks like one kind of project now with just an overall global townhouse development. So, yep, there's the building elevations. Up here, so here's the clubhouse. So very much in keeping with the style for the townhouse style building. So very much a residential style. The peaked roofs and architectural styles similar to the of the single family house. So really fits in much better with the community. It will have, each building will have individual totes for trash, and we have completing, essentially we have 360-degree access all around the property by connecting to McEwen. So for fire safety and everything, really completing that full loop around the building and putting that clubhouse and those sport courts kind of in the center is a main attraction for the residents there, that they can utilize that clubhouse area. So yeah, it's a pretty straightforward project. We have reduced the size and scope substantially and feel that this fits in much better with the community. And we can answer any questions you have.
Well, that's a major improvement over what's been coming in, on this site, yeah. I like the idea of you lowered them to just 2-story standard type places. Conforms with the existing buildings on the site. The one thing I think I did mention the other day, there was along McEwen Drive, see those driveways coming out? There's 6 driveways.
Yes.
Come out onto McEwen Drive. Put an interior drive and connect them so that there's just like maybe one driveway coming out.
Absolutely. We're going to make that revision this week.
Okay, that would be an improvement, I think. You see what I'm saying? eliminate all those curb cuts. Just have one coming out onto McEwen. The interior is all private drive, doesn't really affect anything there, that's standard in a subdivision like that. That would be the biggest thing. Clubhouse, I think that's a terrific asset for that project. That's a major big change in there, it's nice. Now, with the proposed two-story one, it's in the EPOD district, the lower part there?
Yeah, I believe a portion of the 6-unit building is
Yeah,
in,
the small one.
is in the EPOD
That-
steep
now,
slope
what would have
district.
That has to get a special permit then, right, Josh, I guess? You would have to have a special EPOD district
That's
permit
correct. It could
Okay.
be handled by this board as a part of site plan review.
for the approval, okay, yeah, all right. All right, anybody, any questions? Have you seen the other drawings and any comments on it?
I think it looks great.
It's a big improvement over, yeah, I agree.
Are there extra parking places somewhere?
Mm-hmm.
There's extra parking at the clubhouse, and I think we have more than 2 units on some of the units, right?
Yeah,
Two
so
parking
there,
spaces.
every unit has its own garage space, and then there's one parking space in the driveway outside the garage. So each unit has 2 parking spaces plus 10 parking spaces at the clubhouse.
Okay, anybody else, any questions, any?
Do some of the units have a 2-car garage, or is that,
They're just 1-car garage.
look, I'm just looking at the pictures there, it looks like on the end of each building, it looks like a 2-car garage.
Yeah, some of the garages share a driveway, so that the two garages are for separate units.
Okay, all right,
All right, this isn't a public hearing, so it's not open to the public, but are there any neighbors here in regard to this? Okay, you know what, if you can just keep it to a few comments or something, might help us out a little bit with anything, I think we can entertain that, but just keep it to a couple, 3 minutes, not long. All right, all we'd ask is give us your name, you actually should sign. You can go up and talk and then just go out and sign if you haven't already, okay? You wanna go up, sir? Go ahead. Is it up there? Okay.
So I'm Charlie, Sarah Johnson. We're right at 440 McEwen.
Okay,
We kind of had the same concerns you had, obviously, with those 6 driveways that are egressing into single-family district. I haven't seen that type of development yet in the town of Webster. We've been driving around, we've been on the satellite, and 7 even if you count the last driveway. And then in terms of the buffer, right, between the 2 districts, those properties coming directly into that R3 district, the ones facing McEwen, facing north, was our biggest concern. And the other thing is that the development itself, I know the parcel is listed at 13, but they're actually only developing on I think about 4.17 acres is the total area of this particular development, right? Kind of speaks to the same issues and questions you had about the Shoecraft property, right? It's 56 units being crammed into 4.2 acres is really what's happening here, which is our biggest concern. If you look at the building facing McEwen, and then the building to the west of that one, as well as the EPOD there, that's 26 units whose primary access is probably going to be down McEwen and then into that area. McEwen's only 20 feet wide. There's also a pumping station in the the northwest corner, if you would look at that picture, right there. So you're talking a lot of congestion that's coming down into this area potentially, okay? So again, our primary concern is the buffer, and it's the congestion associated with the development.
so you got a good point, so along McEwen Drive, which is, you're saying your biggest concern right there, if those driveways are eliminated, they could put a berm and landscape that across there, that basically would hide the whole
Yeah,
project.
any buffer as defined, I guess, in the town code. Something, because right now, at least in that description, or even in their site plans, I think there's about 4 or 5 shrubs. That's all there is. So we're clearly not against saying you can't develop this property. We just would like it to fall somewhat in line with what the town intends for this type of development, specifically as it relates to this type of single-family district.
As a visual, best thing I can think of is, this would be similar to, is Hillsborough over on, off of Bay
Bay
Road
Road,
there. That would be very similar to this type of a situation right here. It's not congested, and I believe Mark Ford built that too, didn't you? Didn't they do, years ago? Thought they did that in there. Am I right, Chris? Right? I thought so, yeah. See that? My mind's still working. Okay. And that's as close as I could relate this to looking like.
Yeah.
But, okay, thanks for your comments.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, is there anybody else want to give a comment or something? Just, yeah, go ahead, just make a quick one.
I'm Dave Geyer. I live at 400 McEwen Drive. My property directly attaches to the property in question. I just, both Charlie and myself did send some information, including drawings, to
Yes, we got
both
it.
boards. You did receive that?
Yes, we did.
For example, the road that's coming in actually goes onto my property, onto a corner of my property, where it curves into McEwen, which is a strange way for a road to attach to another road, to have a 56-degree curve. And that actually goes onto my property. So we certainly need that to be addressed. And then the comments from the board for the Shoecraft Road, I thought were very enlightening about developing 40 units on a 5-acre or 4-acre property. This is 56 units on a 4.17 property, if we look at what's being developed. So we're actually putting a lot more units into a very small, much smaller unit, smaller area. So I would ask the board continue to look at how do we put the right number of units onto this very small piece of property. It's certainly being developed at a higher rate than an MHR facility. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Chris, you guys want to address any of the issues? I mean, they're just,
No, thank you very much. We appreciate the board's input,
okay.
and happy to answer any other questions.
One of the big advantages personally that I see here, it isn't, the other one was just blocked. There were just 4 buildings locked together. It looked like a military camp. This has got some style to it. This has got potential for berming around the property. Your point, Mr. Geyer, about the driveway coming, your house is right across from that?
My property is right in the corner by where the road curves into
Okay.
McEwen.
So if cars are coming out of there at night, would those lights be shining on you?
If I'm coming out of my driveway and they're curving in, there's potential for intersections. There's a couple of houses up back in that way.
Well, my concern would be if cars are coming out at night, would lights be shining into your house or something?
They'll be shining into the pumping station.
Oh, well, then nobody there cares. So we're okay with that. No, I was concerned if it was coming by your house and the lights were shining, we'd ask maybe they could put a berm in the front of that.
I understand.
Okay,
If
okay.
the traffic's going the other way,
What's that?
if the traffic's going the other way into the development, it'll shine into his
Still not
house.
shining into my property.
Yeah, well, that's,
Our house is fairly far away.
and again, the advantage to this, this actually, well, what am I saying? You're looking at the map also. You've got the building in the center, there's open space around it, there's amenities for it. This is not even close to that type of a operation as the other one was, in my opinion anyways. This is much more spacious open. And these are more built like individual homes, and it conforms to the units that are existing there right now. They're the same type units that they are in Willow Point right now. All right, anybody, any other concerns or questions, and what do you guys think?
The one thing that I haven't seen addressed or discussed on this is that, you know, the existing site plan that's we also received, you know, it's dated July 2024. It does show a pond on this parcel.
Mm-hmm.
And my understanding is
Wait,
that,
Derek, could you speak up so we can hear?
so this map that shows the parcel, shows the property lines, general sewer lines, its utilities, it shows the pond in the corner of this development, the southwest corner of the development. And that pond, when you go and you look at it, you see that there is a pipe that goes into it, and it appears to be the quality component of stormwater management. And that pond seems to be, it's not being addressed really as part of this project. It was part of a stormwater management facility for the overall project to begin with. And I don't see anything on how this is being replaced, incorporated into the new design. It's just having a corner of the building literally built over the pond. From the best I could tell by looking at the alignments, it's really like the southwest corner of building number, I don't know if it's, these actually have numbers on them, the one that's in the southwest portion of the parcel there.
Yeah, so what we're doing is we're creating a new stormwater pond, kind of in the bottom left corner of the property on the opposite side of the road. And then we have 3 bioretention areas that kind of surround the clubhouse and the courts in there. So we're putting in bioretention areas. We're putting in that that new stormwater pond, and there is some additional underground storage as well.
Is that separate pond that you're proposing, is that on the same parcel or is that on a different parcel?
Different parcel owned by the same owner.
Still owned by the same owner, but
Correct.
it's not part of the 2 parcels that are being considered as part of this development. It's on a 3rd parcel, correct?
Correct.
Now, is that, other than shown very lightly on your drawing C-102, it just says proposed, actually it says proposed sand filter on it. Which one of these drawings actually shows the drainage and the structures and so forth that would be associated with that new pond?
Yep, the utility
That's
plan
C105.
shows the piping that goes to it, and the grading plan shows the grading for it. So keep going. There, right there. That one right there shows the piping going to it.
Mm-hmm. So if that's on a separate parcel, what, you have to have an agreement with yourself, I guess, right?
Yes. Yeah,
Would
with
that be how
easements.
it would work?
Yep.
Okay.
And we would have, you know, as the project goes ahead, then we have to submit all the design characteristics for that. Because I imagine that's not only gonna pick up this parcel, it's gonna pick up the rest of the development, since that's what that original pond was for.
I didn't catch that last part.
The original storm sewer system that went to the pond that the building is being built on top of.
Yep.
Served the rest of the development. So when you put together your stormwater management plan, that's gonna incorporate the existing and the new development into it. Just wanna make sure that it will.
Yes,
For
it
the
takes into
sizing
account
of it.
everything.
Okay, well, this is just for sketch anyways tonight. Actually, well, this is gonna have to have a seeker, correct?
It will. This is not considered an actual application though, right, Josh?
Well, they did submit for preliminary final, but because of the substantial changes
Yeah.
since the last time, we brought it back as a sketch plan.
Okay.
We
The
technically,
paperwork is all for preliminary,
right, we
but
have a
we-
full
yeah.
application in that sense.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the seeker will be required.
So if we're gonna do seeker on it, then we have to make a determination to be lead, or,
You would then, yeah, declare your intent to become a lead agency for the project.
You have to classify the type of action, and then
so this would be, what, this
It's
would be an
It's an unlisted action.
unlisted action,
Yes.
correct? So this would be okay, well then, let's make a, you wanna do it?
I'm not
Derek?
sure that it would be unlisted.
Why not?
It has several components to it. You're taking a parcel, two parcels, combining them together, and that's how you're coming up with the density that you're using for the developments going on there. Part of the parcel, though, is located in a couple different protection overlay districts that we have. And just simply because of the proximity of it and the number of units involved, I would have to double check, but I believe that would bring it into the category of, everything gets reduced down by 25% and that kind of thing, that it's gonna wind up being a type 1 seeker. I'm sorry, I don't have any control whatsoever over the mics in the back.
Tony, you
And
don't
I'm
have
talking
to
as close
make
as
that
I can to
determination
it,
right
so
now.
I'll try to do it, but I don't.
Just that we would be lead agency?
Well, no, you don't have to make
Not
the
at
seeker
all.
determination today.
Okay, all right,
Yeah, I'm not sure that we have the ability right now
okay,
to actually
No,
even declare the lead
excuse me.
agency on it.
all right.
That's, we don't meet any type 1 thresholds, including the 25% thresholds. We don't. It's an unlisted action.
It is.
I
And-
guess it's nice that's your interpretation, but we were not prepared to establish any kind of lead agency tonight as part of this sketch plan review. I would actually like to be able to take a look at it closer and see if it does meet any of those thresholds. I have not had that opportunity.
Well, I mean, even if it did, that still wouldn't preclude you from declaring your intent to be lead agency.
It
I
would
mean,
require a classification of the action, though.
And
Okay, I
At
see what
this
you're
point, we can't classify it.
Tony, you don't have to make that classification tonight, because there's not an official application here.
Yeah, okay.
And if Derek does have concerns.
All right, then let's,
I'll-
why don't we just
I'd
hold on
rather
that then?
confirm. Okay.
We'll do that, you come back for preliminary approval?
Well, it's going to add another month and a half to
Yeah,
the
that's true, too.
project. We did submit, as Josh said, we did submit full preliminary site plan applications. And what we discussed at PRC was doing a declaration of intent to be lead agency, which does require a classification of the project, but it's not just my opinion, it's your entire town staff discussed it and believes this to be a lead agent, unlisted action, including a representative, if I may say, of MRB Group, who was at the PRC meeting, and everyone concurred it was an unlisted action. So, declaration of intent to be lead agency is also something that can be rescinded. If it turns out it's something else, you can rescind that. But I would ask that you make the declaration of intent and commence the coordinated review
If it comes to be, it can be rescinded, like he said.
as discussed.
Let's do that then.
You can also, you're going before the zoning board next week, correct?
That's absolutely correct.
The zoning board could also, because there's going to be a coordinated review likely either way, whether it's a type 1 or an unlisted.
Exactly.
The zoning board next week could make that determination as a compromise, right? If Derek has concerns that this might be a type 1 rather than unlisted, rather than declaring and then rescinding, is an option for the zoning board next week to simply declare the type, or classify the action, declare themselves lead agency under a coordinated review.
I don't think the zoning board wants to be a lead agency.
I can't speak for the zoning board, but that is possible, because it would be a coordinated review.
Yeah.
But Tony,
Wow.
You are correct. You certainly could make the classification, declare yourself lead agency, and then rescind at a later date.
Then why don't we just do that? Is that okay? That work with you, Derek? If it doesn't fall into the category,
Yeah,
When unlisted, then we'll rescind it.
sure.
Okay, all right, we'll do
That's
that. Then I'll make a motion that planning board would deem itself to be lead agency for the project, and it would be an unlisted action,
Correct.
okay? That'd be a motion, need a second?
I'll second it.
Have a second? Well, call
Mr. Kashani?
the roll. Aye.
Mr. Kosel?
Aye.
Mr. Mixel?
Aye.
Mrs. Maltman? Aye. Mr. Anderson?
Yeah, sorry, I have to say nay.
Nay.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Mark?
It's okay.
Georgina?
Aye.
Okay, that, so far, that's just basically, we got it on the table. You're gonna review it, and you'll come up with a solution to it, and we'll go from that point, that's all. Okay? That
Tony,
work
got
all
it.
right? That should work out.
Thank you very much.
Got a
We
couple
appreciate
people
it.
with their hands up out there.
Yes,
But we're in a meeting, so we didn't open it to the
Yes.
public yet.
I've seen that the driveway, the way they're gonna put it into the house.
Wait a minute, we can't hear you, ma'am.
Talk in the microphone.
If you wanna come up, you can come up and say something, go ahead. Just give us your name and address, okay?
Okay, I live on 448.
Wait till you get to the microphone,
Okay,
speaking to,
Thank you.
there you go.
448 McEwen Drive,
Okay.
and I seen it, they got the driveway for every union. It's not really big. For these people, they got company, where are they gonna go park? There's no place to park. McEwen Drive, it's not really wide to park all these cars.
Am I understanding right? In other words, your concern was the driveways?
Yeah,
Co-
because McEwen Drive is not really big.
Uh-huh,
I got company, my neighbors next door, she's got company.
uh-huh.
Those people, they don't have no place to park. And they got the pond and they got the gully. So where's all the room to put all this condo?
Well, we can get into a whole dialogue on that, but if those driveways don't come out onto there, their driveways will be inside. There'll be just one driveway coming out.
Okay, so these people, they got company, like a husband and wife.
No, we got that. They've got extra parking spaces in there for that.
Right,
Yes.
they got enough space to
Yeah,
park the cars?
That's the idea of it. Excuse me. That's the same as any other project that comes in. We require them to have enough parking spaces, so if visitors come, there's a place for them to park.
Okay, what are all these people, they gonna go out for McEwen Drive? We got problem already now to get out from McEwen Drive when they close the bridge for the boat. Sometimes we stay 20 minutes before you can get out from the street because there was so much traffic on McEwen Drive and Bay Road. So they got another street to all these people to get out. If it's an emergency, it's a fire, how these people, they gonna get out?
Well, if that was the case, I think they would come right out onto Bay Road, on the private drive.
They got there?
It all connects, it's all one circuit.
It's all.
Okay.
all
Thank
to-
you.
May I add to that? I'm sorry. May I ask that real quick, just for as far as the flow of traffic? Can I go to the microphone?
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
No, I don't know if anyone's ever actually like been to McEwen Drive, if you've seen it in person. The road itself is a very intimate road. And even if you were to take out those 6 driveways, the amount of traffic you're gonna add to the top entranceway and the bottom entranceway is too much for that road to hold. It's a very intimate road. You can barely fit one car going down one way and one up the other way. So I just I would invite you all to actually, like, if you haven't already, go to visit the space to
Many
actually.
times.
You have seen it. It's a
Yeah.
very intimate road, so any little bit of traffic you're adding into that road, I think it's too much for that road. So my question is, what would you be doing to add more? Would you be able to widen the road? How does that impact the town's property on the other side? But also just the idea, again, of the intimacy of that neighborhood and that it is very residential. What does that do to the integrity of the residential aspect of it? And also the safety of that road of McEwen? We have children on that road. If
Well,
that,
ma'am, okay, I don't want to get into this whole
Yeah, that's
thing,
fine.
but what you're saying is something that comes up at every meeting.
Yeah.
Every subdivision. Everyone is a Shangri-La, we understand all that. But the road is there, it's a dedicated road, we have to work with it.
but the width of the road is what I'm concerned about.
The what? I'm sorry?
The width of the road
I
and the
don't know what the
safety
width
of
of it
the.
is, it's two-lane road, though.
It's barely a two-lane road. I think it's like 20 feet. It's not
Well-
that, but it's not, if you look at it, it's not, it's barely enough for two cars to go up and down on the same, in the same
Okay.
direction. So I'm just looking at more or less like the safety aspect of it, and now there's two different directions happening, even if there weren't the 6 driveways, and the impact that that has on the people who are already living there, and the safety for our children. That's what I'm speaking to.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. All right, what else have we got to do?
Someone else
There's
is coming
nothing, I guess, that's about it.
Yeah, someone else walking.
Well, we don't, I don't want to keep dragging, this isn't us. All right, go ahead.
I live at 444.
Give us your name, too, I'm sorry.
McEwen, pardon?
Give us your name also.
Karen Jenner. My concern is just what Sarah was saying.
Oh, okay, then we
It's-
covered that.
It's the traffic.
Mm-hmm.
You have the potential for adding 112 cars.
Okay, ma'am, look this is not a public hearing. I said I'd open it to a few things. I don't want to repeat, everybody's saying the same thing. We got the picture. Everybody has a concern for the
Are we
parking, for
going
the
to get
traffic.
an answer to how this
We can't
will be
answer that
handled?
tonight, that's,
No, I know
there's
you
the
can't
plan.
answer it tonight, but will it be answered?
We'll have them address it
And we will get the results?
at their next meeting, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay? All right, thank you. I don't mean to be court on this, but, again, it isn't, I just wanted to open and get a few comments to see where we stood, not to get a whole dialogue going. Anyway, so there we are. Where do we go from here? We're all set with it, I guess. Lead agency, we're taking that.
Thank you very
We're good?
much. We
I guess we're all
appreciate your
done.
time. We appreciate your comments.
Okay, thanks a
Have a
lot.
great night.
Have a good night.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, the third and last tabled matter on the board tonight, Birdsong at Conover Cove subdivision. Located between the east end of Conover Cove Lane and Webster Road, applicant Grove Underhill LLC is requesting preliminary final subdivision and site plan approval, along with a public hearing associated with the creation of 9 lots for construction of 8 single-family residences and an associated stormwater management facility on a 5.55 acre parcel located in a R3 single-family residential district under sections 269-11, 296-20, and 350-12 of the Code of the Town of Webster.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Peter Vars from BME Associates, appearing tonight on behalf of Grove Underhill Properties LLC. Also in attendance is Mitch Brodsky, the owner of Grove Underhill Properties LLC. As mentioned, we're here this evening to continue and we hope complete the seeker review and the subdivision and site plan review for Birdsong at Conifer Cove. It is a proposed single-family residential for-sale subdivision, proposing 8 single-family residential lots, plus an additional 9th parcel that would be a town parcel for the stormwater management area, all to be situated on 5.5 acres in a residential R3 zoning district. We've appeared before this board several times over the past several months. Back in August, at your August 6th planning board meeting, at that point in time, we presented to this board the revised plan where we disconnected, I'm going to say, the public street and from Conifer Cove Lane with just an access out to Route 250. and we had addressed the planning board, town engineer, and PRC comments with the revised plan submission. It should also be noted with that, at that time, we also updated the seeker documentation providing the full EAF Part 1 as the board classified the action as a Type 1 action and subsequently declared their intent to be lead agency. Back in September, on September 18th, the planning board did declare themselves lead agency for the purpose of seeker and initiated the coordinated review. On October 22nd, we provided you updated materials as a result of our appearances before the board in August and September. And it consisted of three primary things based on comments that had been received. First of all, we provided you information and a memo addressing that the project's conformance with the provisions of Town Code Section 296, which governs the subdivision of land within the town of Webster. We also provided you an updated plan set of the preliminary final subdivision and site plans that address the most recent comments from the town engineer MRB group and the PRC. It also included drawing number 12 in that set, where we did provide the results of the requested tree survey that this board asked, where we have identified trees greater than 8 inches in diameter. We identified those trees in the area outside of the development footprint as discussed and directed by the board, acknowledging that the development area from the rear of the houses through the right-of-way to the rear of the houses across the street would be developed as part of the residential subdivision. We located basically the trees around the perimeter. Trees were primarily locust and poplar trees, and there were ash trees and several dead and diseased ash trees. What we did also do, though the property, we did confirm that the property is not part of an environmental protection overlay district or a woodlot protection overlay district. That was confirmed with town staff. And it is also to be clearly known that the R3 zoning district does not require any buffering provisions as it relates to adjoining properties. But with that being said, what we did do at what the applicant is proposing is we have modified the rear yard grading such that we're pulling it into the lots, as it is the developer's intent to save those trees greater than 8 inches in diameter around the perimeter of the property, primarily along the south and north property lines. And those have been identified on the grading plan that's within the drawing set. These trees will be saved and identified for saving during the construction process. In addition, we've identified a handful of other trees in what would be the future rear yard areas. The developer's intent is to keep those trees in place until the time of house construction, house design, giving basically the future homeowner the ability that if they choose a house design where that tree could be saved, it's there to be saved in lieu of just cutting the rear yards free of the trees to maximize the building lot. So that is something that they are willing to do. In addition, we did provide you a proposed landscape plan proposing an additional 20 trees along the east property line, the Route 250 frontage, creating a landscape buffer. It will supplement the existing maples that are along the Route 250 right-of-way. Also, additional trees and shrubs in the northwest corner around the west property line to demarcate this subdivision from the Conifer Cove Lane properties to the west. In addition to those two items, we also provided you information as it concerns to seeker. We provided you responses to the 18 questions that are contained in the Part 2 EAF that this board needs to review in order to make their seeker determination. The information we provided to you was based upon the design information presented in the preliminary and final site and subdivision plans you have before you. Information provided in the engineer's report that was submitted and prepared and submitted in support of the information in the EAF and as presented on the design plans. We also completed it as it relates to the information provided on the Part 1 EAF. Also from the EAF mapper from the DEC website, that gives us information on natural features, habitats, and natural resources. And also based on agency review comments we've received today, the Monroe County Water Authority, the County Health Department, and the New York State Department of Transportation. In preparing that information, we also utilize guidance provided in the New York State DEC Environmental Assessment Form workbook, which is provided to, provides guidance in order to assess potential impacts as it relates to those 18 questions. It has the thresholds to be reviewed so that you can make a determination to the potential significance of any impact. Based on the information we've provided to you, we believe it does support a determination that the project does not result in any potential significant impact. Any potential impacts are being addressed through the project design, such as the stormwater management plan, the construction erosion control plan, the traffic information provided to the state DOT, and along with consistency with the community's land use plan and character of the surrounding area, and its compliance with the comprehensive plan. Several comprehensive plans of the town of Webster has consistently identified this 5.5 acre parcel as designated for residential development, the R3 residential zoning that's proposed. The plan is prepared in compliance with that zoning criteria as it relates to lot size, lot width, setbacks. There are no variances or waivers from any of the lot standards being requested. So with that, we just wanted to give you that update on what we've have done since we were last here back in September, and we can answer any questions that the board may have on that information.
Okay, one thing I'm gonna ask Josh, all these documents are on the website, are they?
I don't believe a lot
They
of
are
them
not?
are. The plans, the latest plan sets are on the website.
Okay. The BME, as the gentleman just stated, that they've addressed all the comments that were requested. There were 18 different comments that were requested, and there's a file. I'd suggest that this should probably be put on site, don't you think? So people can see it if they wanted to see it. But everything has been addressed. We've looked at it, read it, I've made notes on it and so on, and I don't know what more we could do with that. In the letter from the attorneys, Harder, Seacrest, and Emery, they took specific things, legal matters here, they addressed those on their letterhead too. So we have covered everything for these 8 homes on this site. I see nothing further that I see can be changed at this point. But it is a public hearing. If anyone wants to get up and speak, you're more than welcome to come up and speak. We're gonna limit this to 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Last time we made it 5 minutes. There's no more need for 5 minutes, 3 minutes, and it will be no longer than 3 minutes. Okay? So if anyone wishes to speak, come on up.
Mr. Chairman, I submitted a letter. Did the board receive it? It was dated the 11th.
It was submitted.
I have a duplicate copy for the board, if it would be helpful.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, I'll hand you a copy if it's acceptable, Mr. Chairman. Here's a copy of the letter that we submitted yesterday regarding this matter. It does address many issues.
I saw that online.
Yeah, okay.
So what are we supposed to do with this thing now?
I would ask to hold off making decisions till you've had a chance to review that. And I'll go ahead and try to summarize the issues presented there.
Yeah.
Oh, and I can provide, do you require contact information for the minutes?
Yes,
Yes.
you'll be required to state your name and address.
I will do that, but just in case you can't understand me at all or something.
If this was given you yesterday, and we haven't gotten it now.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, honorable board members. My name is Jacob Zoglin. I'm an attorney and partner at the Zoglin Group here in Rochester, and I'm here tonight to speak on behalf of the Webster Citizens for the Birdsong Trail area in opposition to the site plan and subdivision applications for the Birdsong at Conifer Cove project. The project is proposed to be located on a heavily forested parcel containing extensive vegetation and mature trees that the Conservation Board recommended retaining. Significantly, the project is adjacent to town property and parkland that contains the Bird Sanctuary Trail and Mill Creek. I'm going to talk briefly about non-conforming issues and, uses and conditions. As a preliminary matter, site plan and subdivision approval cannot be granted because the town code does not allow issuing such approvals when doing so would create non-conforming uses or conditions. We see that in 296-10C and 296-19C. Here, the project would create non-conforming uses or conditions, and therefore variances are required for the following reasons. I'll highlight just a couple. One, the project would establish a new structure and use, i.e. the stormwater management facility, in an R3 district where such uses and structures are not permitted under the town code. That's 350-12A. Additionally, the code requires a minimum rear setback of 50 feet for all lots in the R3 district. But here, the proposed project cites the stormwater management facility less than 50 feet from the rear property line. Again, that's a variance issue. And the third variance that I want to talk about is because the code requires a minimum front yard setback of 50 feet on corner lots on major highways. That's Town Code 350-12B5A2. And here, the project proposes to create Lot 4 at the corner of Route 250, which is a major highway as defined by the Town Code, Section 350-3. But Lot 4 only provides a 40-foot front yard setback, which is 10 feet less than what is required. Accordingly, several variances would be required for this project, which I go into in more detail in my letter. Therefore, subdivision and site plan approval cannot be granted without conditioning such approvals on obtaining the required variances, and seeker has to involve a coordinated review with the zoning board and consider those cumulative impacts. I'll touch briefly on the seeker issues now because I know the chairman and the attorney were discussing seeker on the last application.
He's exceeded the 3-minute threshold, but I'll leave it up to the board if you'd like him to continue.
If it's okay with Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, I think in this case, yeah, this is, go up, keep going.
Okay, and I'll keep it brief and on point to the seeker things. So because the project cannot proceed without these discretionary approvals that I discussed, the variances, the seeker review of the project has to involve this coordinated review. And that has to involve the interested and involved agencies before determination of significance is made. That's why I was saying you have to coordinate with ZBA on these several variances that haven't been even requested at this point. And then you have to do the cumulative impacts review. Moreover, because the board already determined that it's a type 1 action, there's a legal presumption that it will require a pos deck and preparation of an EIS. So I'm not going to go over all the reasons why I think a pos deck is required, but I want to highlight some of the high points so I keep a good use of your time tonight. First, the project's impacts on plants and animals indicate there will have serious adverse impacts on the environment. This concern is especially pronounced here and is compounded by the existing forested condition at the property and the fact that the property adjoins town parkland. Whenever you adjoin town parkland, you have to be concerned about the impacts that a project will have on the parkland. In this case, that also includes the Bird Sanctuary Trail and Mill Creek. Town code, design guidelines, and the comprehensive plan uniformly emphasize environmental preservation, maintaining trees and vegetation and natural resources. It even talks about special protections for woodlots or epods, and all of these facts, which I go into in more detail in the letter, demonstrate a strong town policy in favor of preserving plants, animals against adverse impacts from development. Second issue that I think is really important here is the degradation of aesthetic resources from the project. The fact that the project adjoins this parkland raises serious concerns because the project would significantly change the character of those aesthetic resources by eliminating the buffer and natural screening between the natural resources and the road, homes, and residential features associated with the project. by removing so much of the vegetation and trees that form a core part of the character and aesthetics of this area. The BME report actually admits that if approved, it says, quote, "The project site may be viewed through both routine day-to-day traffic and recreational uses of the Birdsong Sanctuary Trail." You don't want to be seeing developments when you're in the middle of parkland or on a trail, and that's why preservation of those aesthetic resources is so important, and indeed is articulated in seeker, in town code, in comprehensive plan as things that need to be preserved. And I want to just, one more thing I want to hit on real quickly is the water quality issues, right? So the close proximity of the project to Mill Creek, which drains into Lake Ontario, combined with the known presence of contaminated soils nearby, and the admission that there is a perched water table within 3 feet of existing or proposed grade, indicates that the lead agency should take a hard look at whether the project may impact those water resources. When this project is reviewed cumulatively as a whole under seeker, it becomes clear that it will create nonconforming property conditions and nonconforming uses and significant adverse environmental impacts that have not been considered and mitigated to the maximum extent practicable. These facts warrant, as the board has already observed, doing coordinated review, but it also warrants issuing a positive declaration of environmental significance and requiring preparation of an EIS. For all of these reasons and those stated in our letter, the application should be denied, or significant mitigation measures should be imposed, or changes should be required. If that can't happen, then the project should be denied. Thank you for your time and attention, and if there are any questions from the board, I'll take them. Otherwise, we'll rest on our papers.
Well, that was a good legal description of it all.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Mr. Chairman.
Would you want to respond to any of those?
We'll need to see the letter to prepare if the board requires a formal response, which we'll have no problem doing. Just a couple of things, though. I would point out, all uses proposed are conforming uses with the R3 zoning district. There's no dispute in that. A stormwater management facility is not a structure as defined by the town code as it relates to zoning and setback within the R3 district, going through the definitions. Stormwater management is also not a non-conforming use or a non-allowable use. Stormwater management is required by the Victor Town Code and by the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation. The Town of Victor Code has their drainage ordinance, which we are required to comply to. The stormwater management plan has been prepared in compliance with the Town of Webster's drainage ordinance, the New York State DEC stormwater regulations, as confirmed by the town engineer based on their review of the submitted stormwater management design. So without reading it, any reference to the stormwater management plan needing to conform to setback or not being an allowable use are incorrect. And I think the town code is very clear on that. With regards to variances, as stated, there are no variances required. That's been vetted through the PRC and through this board. As it relates to the one setback that was identified, the 50-foot setback is provided to Route 250 as required, but the code also allows, per 350-12B 5A2, corner lots are allowed a 40-foot front setback. That's why we have a 40-foot front setback to the subdivision street, but the 50-foot setback to Route 250 trumps that, for lack of a better term. So those are just things off the top of my head. With regards to seeker, as we mentioned in the information we provided, going through the thresholds, you are able to see the thresholds established through the EAF workbooks established by DEC, that we do not exceed any of the thresholds that go into moderate to large potential impacts that are not mitigated through the design that's been provided. So I'll allow the board to decide what they want to do in reference to this information. If they request a written response from the applicant, we would do that for you.
Dorothy Fate, 742 Hightower Way. Our town's comprehensive plan is a document that citizens participated in developing and the town adopted, and as such should continue to be utilized as a guiding document for framing Webster's development. I would contend that many of the goals and directions put forth in that document continue to be relevant, and I ask the board to utilize it. Specifically, it recommends that the town planning and zoning boards use such tools as conservation easements and environmental protection overlay districts to protect Webster's natural resources. It also has code under residential subdivision, chapter 296, sections 15 and 16 that address concerns about development's impact on adjacent properties. As we move through the seeker process, I would assert that the EAF submitted to date is not adequate for this project to move forward. I would ask the board to review the EAF Part 1 as I dispute the developer's answers on this document. The developer failed to address Section C, Planning and Zoning, specifically Section C.2 Webster's Comprehensive Plan. Preservation of open space was not addressed. Our comprehensive plan included reference to an existing list of properties of value and interest. It was developed in 1973, included 600 parcels. The list was prioritized in 2003. It was recommended that it be updated periodically. This is a living document, and as such, it is an ongoing part of our comprehensive plan. The town has periodically revamped that list, and the current property was included on the updated parcel list of pieces of it, parcels of interest. EAF section E1, E.1.c. This property is currently utilized by members of the community as evidenced by the numerous unofficial trails throughout those 5 acres. Section E.2.h. Water bodies adjoin the property. Mill Creek flows close to the property, and according to BME Engineering Report of 513, page 6, the stormwater flow traveling to Mill Creek is documented. Section D.1.c indicates that the project should be 12 months. I believe that this form should include an estimate of the time before all sites are built out. This would mean a considerable amount of time of ongoing disturbance to citizens who use a birdsong trail and animals that use it as habitat. Secondly, as I review the updated site plan, it concerns me that the developer's tree census saves too few trees for preservation. Personal opinion. My question, also it appears that the area determined to be the roadway is marked to be filled to its point of highest elevation. And my question is, will the birdsong trail be lower than this proposed road?
Okay, Mrs. Fate, look at, we'd like you to do is, that's 3 minutes, that's it. Take your document, and if you want to present it to the board, we'll put it in the file with the papers.
My other request, though, is that minutes be amended from,
Minutes
you
be
accepted minutes, you approved minutes in which there was a document in those minutes that said that the board had already made a determination
Okay, if you've got that on paperwork, just please leave it with the secretary.
But the
okay?
minutes need to be amended
Yeah,
because
okay.
there is a seeker determination of non-determination
Okay.
in those minutes.
Okay, thanks. If you want to leave that with Catherine, you can leave it, she can put it in the file. Okay? All right, this project has been in here forever. In all my years here, I've never seen a project with just 8 houses take so damn long to get approved. This is a very simple operation. And I'm getting the picture that people just don't want it. That's the bottom line of this thing. I'm sorry to say, I don't want to be crass on this thing again, but that's what the bottom line of this is. People are just pissed off because there's houses going there. There's a couple of people in here that wrote letters. Their houses don't even have grass growing on them yet, and they're bitching about this project going in. You know that? Are you aware of that? Their lots are smaller than these lots are. And in all my years here, my 40-some years on this board, I have never seen such resistance to something like this. And if there's something to be opposed to, I'll be the first one to go into your team. And I see none of that here. None of it. This is bull. This applicant has gone through hoops every which way for 8 stinking houses. It's an approved site. You can tell me what you want about the code. You can tell me about anything you'd like to about this thing. But you know what? In reality, it meets everything that's in this town code. And this has been gone through. The attorneys have reviewed it. Whatever you want to do after this, God bless you. But I'm ready to just move forward with this thing. And that's it. If Derek is willing to do a seeker on this, we're not talking anymore, okay? Please?
The board has not completed part 2 and 3.
Ma'am? All right, let me do it this way. I'm going to close the public hearing. Thank you. Enough is enough. Everybody has become an expert. We've got engineers, we've got attorneys, everybody looking into this. So this has been researched. We're doing no different than any project getting its full required view from everybody. And that's what this has been gone through. If you want to do I'm willing to move forward with it, but you have to do a seeker first.
What we'll do is that we did complete a coordinated review. We have a list, we contacted involved and interested agencies as required by seeker. We worked with all those agencies. None of them had any significant comments about this project. None of them. None of the involved or interested agencies provided comments to this board regarding the project that had any kind of impact on the decision. We also have before us a part 2 of the environmental assessment form, and we will go through this. As a board, we all have copies of the form that was completed, and I think it's worthwhile going through. Part number 1 on this addresses impacts on land. In this document, the part 2, it does follow step by step through the part 1 assessment form. This is just additional information that winds up being requested and filled out. The general response to the impact on land, which is proposed action may involve construction on or physical alteration of land, the surface of the proposed site. So it's a construction of the subdivision. So obviously it does have impact on land. They are doing work on it. When you look at the items that are listed under part 2, it discusses things about, where the land may be within 3 feet of the water table, if there's slopes greater than 15%, if there's any construction in bedrock or exposed areas. The proposed action may involve excavation or removal of more than 100 tons of natural material. Involves construction and continues for more than a year or in multiple phases. And the proposed action may include erosion, which is physical disturbance of vegetation. So all of these items listed underneath number 1 on the part 2 of the environmental assessment form, there is no or small impact may occur for this particular project. All the items on here are addressed by the normal required construction mitigation programs for stormwater runoff and generally accepted construction techniques. So there's no or small impact on those parcels, unless anybody else on the board has an objection to that. Impact on geological features. There's no specific geological features on this parcel. So the answer to impact on geological features is no. So there's no impact on that. Impact on surface water. The proposed action may affect 1 or more wetlands or other surface water bodies. This includes streams, rivers, or ponds. So the overall answer to that is yes. But within the underlying items, is it going to create a new water body? No or small impact. And there's a dry stormwater detention pond, so it's not creating new water bodies. Is it gonna decrease 10% or more, or 10 acres increase and decrease the surface area of water body? No. Is a proposed action gonna involve dredging? There's no dredging on this project. Is a proposed action gonna involve construction and adjoining freshwater tidal wetlands? No. Is a proposed action gonna create turbidity and turbidity water? There are construction management practices that are put in place for all construction sites that helps prevent stormwater runoff from the site, so no. Proposed action may include construction or one more intakes or withdrawal of water. It's not the type of project, so no. Proposed action may construct outfalls and discharges of wastewater to surface water. It doesn't have any wastewater discharges. We're tying into the public sewer system for the sanitary systems. May cause erosion, again, that is covered by the routine practices of construction. Their stormwater management plans are put in place throughout the project and following the project for maintenance of the stormwater detention pond. It's going to affect water quality, involve applications of pesticides or herbicides. Proposed action may require construction of new or expanding existing wastewater treatment facilities. The answer to all those items are no. So number 2, impacts on surface water. Well, the overall arcing thing is yes. Everything underneath there is no or small impact on the parcel. Impact on groundwater. There's no impact on groundwater as defined under the items on Part 2 of the environmental assessment form. We're not installing wells, that type of process on the process. We don't put in wells for these. These are all tying into the Monroe County Water Authority. It's also tying into the town of Webster sanitary sewer system, so it doesn't have any impact on groundwater. Impact on flooding. The answer to that is no. The project's just not located in the 100 or 500-year floodplain. So there's no impact on flooding from the project. Impacts on air quality. The overarching answer on this is yes, but the underlying items are all no or small impact. These items tend to deal with federal air emissions requiring permits. That doesn't apply to this project. 10 tons or more a year designated hazardous air pollution, that doesn't apply to this project. Proposed action may require state registration for emission sources. That doesn't apply to this project either. It's all residential housing. The proposed action may reach 50% of any thresholds of items A through C, and it doesn't reach that threshold either, so no or small impact. The proposed action may result in a combination of thermal treatment or more than 1 ton of refuge per year, combustible thermal units, sorry. No, it's not, it doesn't generate thermal combustible units. The only emissions that may occur during the project is typical emissions associated with construction activities and vehicles. No different than driving your car up and down the road each day. So it's no to small impact on it. Item number 7 on the form deals with impacts on plants and animal. The overarching answer on that thing is no. Items underneath this thing they talk about loss of population for threatened or endangered species, reduction or degradation of habitat for any kind of rare or threatened species. Proposed action may cause reduction in population or loss of individuals, species of concern. Proposed action may result in reduction or degradation of habitat used by species of special concern. None of those types of species were identified associated with this parcel. So the overall answer on that is no. Item 8, the impact on agricultural resources. Straight answer on that is no. It's not an agricultural property. It has not been used for agriculture. It's not in an agricultural district. So there's no impact on agricultural property. Impact on aesthetic resources. So the overall answer on number 9 is yes. Is it going to be visually from any officially designated federal, state, or local scenic or aesthetic areas? It's not officially designated as any of those areas, so no. The proposed action may result in obstruction, elimination, or significant screening of one or more officially designated scenic views. Again, there is no officially designated scenic view adjacent to this parcel. The proposed action may be visible from publicly accessible vantage points, seasonably screened by foliage or year-round. There isn't really a public accessible vantage points for this parcel. You have the trail going by. I see a response to that, but the overall impact is no or small impact. It doesn't have a significant impact on people walking through a trail that's 100 feet away from the buildings, or even from the lot itself. The proposed action may cause the diminishment of public enjoyment or appreciation of a designated athletic resource. So that's no or small impact. Yes, it is adjacent to the Birdsong Trail, but the trail runs through the middle of the existing right-of-way, and it's not adjacent to the actual development. The right-of-way is, but the trail that's being used is not. There are similar projects visible within the following distances: half mile, mile and a half, 3/4 of a mile. So there are other developments along the Birdsong Trail that have the exact same viewing that you can see from the trail that this project would have. So it's no small impact on the project. So overall, while the impacts on aesthetic resources may be yes, when you look at the individual items underneath it, the real answer is no or small impact may occur. Impact on historic or archaeological resources. None of those items were identified in the area. There's nothing on the particular property that's associated with the New York State Department of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation. Nothing on the SHPO sites. So the overall answer on that is also no. Impact on open space and recreation. That's item number 11. So the overall answer to that is no. There is no impact on open space or recreation. This is an individual parcel that is in a residentially zoned area. The proposed action may result in impairment in natural functions of ecosystems. Doesn't apply. Proposed action may result in current or future recreational resources not identified. Doesn't apply. The proposed action may eliminate open space and recreation resources in an area with such few resources. We have multiple resources for open space within the town. The proposed action may result in a loss of area now used formally or by community as open space resources. This is private property adjacent to a public trail. It is not community or open resource. Impact on critical environmental areas. There are no identified critical environmental areas adjacent to the site. So the answer to that is no. Impact on transportation will result in an existing change in transportation systems. The answer to that is no. We have common feedback from the highway department. This is state highway. That didn't indicate that there was going to be an impact of 8 houses on traffic on Route 250. Impact on energy is a proposed action may cause an increase in use of energy, any form of energy. The overall answer to that is no. It's a small development of just 8 houses. It doesn't have an overall impact on energy use for the area. Impact on noise, odor, and light. Overall answer on that is yes. Underlying items, this may produce sounds above established noise levels. The items for that is no or small impact. The noise levels there would only be associated with during construction, and then once completed, just usual noises associated with residential use. Nothing beyond that. Is there any blasting? There's no blasting associated with this project. There's going to be proposed action may result in routine odors for more than one, no odors from the site even. So is it going to result in lights shining into the neighboring properties? Creating sky glow brightness? The answer to those are no too. You have residential properties and may have lights on them. The expectation is that the houses, when they go up, that those buildings are in conformance with the town's lighting codes. There are no street lights in the project, no light spillage into adjacent areas. So overall, for item number 15, no or small impact on the property. Impact on human health, overall answer to that is no. Those items too, they primarily deal with the proposed, item number 16, the proposed action may have an impact on human health from exposure to new or existing sources of contaminants. The answer is no. There hasn't been anything identified on the property or adjacent to the property that would have that sort of an impact, so no. Consistency with consistency with community plans. So number 17, while the title is consistency with community plans, the underlying description is the proposed action is not consistent with adopted land use plans. Overall answer to that is no. It is consistent with land use plans. It is in a R3 zone district. It's a residential project proposed in a residential district. So it's consistent with the land use plans for that particular parcel. Consistency with community character. The proposed action is number 18. The proposed action is inconsistent with the existing community character. And the overall answer to that is also no. This is a residential property adjacent to other residential properties, so it's consistent with the residential character of this particular area. So for all items 18 on this, there have not been any items that are identified as no, or all the items, I should say, have been identified as no or small impact that may occur on the property.
As one point of order, you had mentioned the coordinated review was completed. Did that include the zoning board of appeals?
All the involved and interested agencies.
Yes, the zoning board was not involved because there were no required variances associated with the plans.
Okay, so the zoning board was not involved. Thank you.
That's right, because no variances were required.
So that's all of part 2.
Okay.
I know the rest of the board has had a chance to review these things too, and if anyone has any questions or discussions, we can talk about
And
it.
you gave the highlights of them all, but again, BME addressed everyone in detail on several pages here. Every one with these 18 items is addressed in detail.
I'd like to point out that, well, BME did go through and do a very thorough job of going through the individual items for part 2, that the completion of this is based on our interpretation of the environmental assessment of the property, relying on information provided not only by BME, but also by the other involved agencies in the project who may have involved comments, such as, the Town of Webster Conservation Board that gave concept review comments for this, regarding the project. And so the conclusions reached on the part 2 form are those of the conclusions of the board with reliance on information provided by others.
Yep, okay.
But not dictated by others. So that being said.
Yep.
One more point of order, I would just ask that the board not make a decision until all members have had a chance to review the complete record. And I observed that earlier this evening, the board members indicated they had not had an opportunity to review the complete record.
Yeah, we've got the letter. You spoke. We heard what you had to say. I believe, my opinion, that what Derek just read entailed everything that was asked for by all your clients, your associates here, whoever. And I think with that, I'm prepared to move forward with this project. Simple as that. There's never been one that's been as lengthy with such a minimal impact on environment, the town, highways, anything. You want it back? With that, I'd suggest we go ahead. We have prepared a determination for seeker. If you want to do it, Derek? I have to go with what we've got. I mean, I don't know what's in this letter. We can read it. We can read it later, and they can move forward with whatever plan they have. But in my opinion, this firm has covered everything between the attorneys and the engineers, and I am prepared to move forward with this project. Simple as that.
Yeah, so
Mr. Chairman, the New York State courts have said that when boards make a decision based on less than a complete record, that's arbitrary and capricious as a matter of law. I would just ask your attorney to maybe take a look at that before you guys do anything that would end you up in hot water. No one wants that.
I would note that Mr. Zoglin, this is the first time I'm seeing a 20-page report. I don't know when it was actually received, if it was received.
It was not received by the town at all.
It was submitted yesterday.
The town was closed yesterday. I don't know how you submitted
Well,
it.
there you go.
But
Submitted it via email, which is
to who?
To who? The town was closed.
via email.
Veterans.
Well, I could tell you that I get those emails and I did not receive your letter. So I'll put that on the record. I did not receive a letter.
I'd be happy to send you a written copy.
I would love to see it.
Can we exchange emails after?
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Archuleta.
Yep.
I would add that based on your presentation and what I have skimmed through this letter at this meeting, that our Part 2 review of the entire project has addressed all of your concerns that you raised in that letter.
And I believe some of, the engineer clarified some of the setbacks you thought were in error. It is 40-foot setback on the corner, so he was right again.
If we take a look at the town code revision, it says that it's 50 foot for major highways, though.
Right. And Route 250 is the major highway. Sage Forest Drive is a town road. It would not be considered
Correct.
And we do
a
have
major
50
highway.
We,
Corner lots have 2 front yards.
we do have 50 feet off the state highway.
It is,
That's not off.
but the side road is not a major road.
No, but corner lots are considered to have 2 front yards, and so the
We understand.
the front yard.
Well, regardless, I mean.
Yeah, I know, that let's.
Yeah, I
move
don't
on,
think we
let's move on.
should get into debating interpretation of our code.
Mr. Bars,
I don't have anything to add. I'll look forward to proceed.
you sure? All right.
Yeah. The only thing I would say about, the fact of the matter is, this board has taken a hard look at this application.
for sure.
I think this evening represents our 5th or 6th public hearing before this board. We have received input from the public, input from involved and interested agencies, input from town staff, and the board itself. This plan has gone through several iterations of submissions of information back, responding to every comment that this board deemed necessary for us to respond to. So while on one hand we could say we've been here a year, the fact of the matter is that epitomizes the fact that this board has taken a hard look at all of the issues. All of the information has been provided to you in a timely fashion, and when not, this board has delayed action or delayed meetings until you've had time. Coming here this evening is the culmination of all that effort and application. So that's all I would add.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Derek, why don't you go ahead and move forward if you're willing?
So I have a seeker determination of significance, a resolution. Whereas the Town of Webster Planning Board, herein referred to as the Planning Board, is considering a subdivision and site plan to develop a new public right-of-way and 610 plus or minus feet of roadway extension from Webster Road, New York State Route 250, and a proposed subdivision consisting of 8 single-family residential lots and 1 lot to be dedicated to the Town of Webster for the ownership and maintenance of a proposed stormwater management facility located on tax map number 065.180-1-027 in the Town of Webster, Monroe County, New York, and is described in the site plans dated May 14th, 2024, last revised October 22nd, 2024, and all other relevant information submitted as of tonight's meeting on November 12th, 2024, the current application. And whereas the Planning Board has determined that above action is a Type 1 action pursuant to Part 617 of the State Environmental Quality Review Regulations and the New York State Department of Health requirements for realty subdivisions, and whereas the Planning Board determined that the action is to be subject to a coordinated review and approved by other involved agencies under seeker, and approval by other involved agencies under seeker, and whereas the Planning Board has been designated lead agency under the provisions of Part 617.63 and 4 of Article 8 of the State Environmental Conservation Law. And whereas the Planning Board has given consideration to the comments provided by the individual agencies and interested agencies at tonight's meeting and who have submitted documents prior to the meeting. And whereas the Planning Board has completed its review of Parts 2 and Part 3 of the full environmental assessment form, and whereas the Planning Board has given consideration to the criteria for determining significance as set forth in Section 617.7C of seeker regulations and the information contained in Parts 1, 2, and 3 of the full environmental assessment form. Now therefore be it resolved that the Planning Board hereby accepts the findings contained in the Parts 2 and 3 of the full environmental assessment forms and directs the Planning Board Chairman to sign and date the full environmental assessment form Part 3. Be it further resolved based on the information analysis above, the supporting documentation referenced above, and for the reasons set forth in the attached notice of determination of non-significance, that the proposed action will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts and will not require an environmental impact statement. Be it further resolved that the Planning Board does hereby make a determination of non-significance on the proposed development, and that the Planning Board Chairman is hereby directed to sign the full environmental assessment form Part 3 and issue a negative declaration as evidence of the Planning Board's determination. I also have attached to the resolution the list of determination of significance, notice of determination of non-significance. Traditionally, we just incorporate this by reference.
Good.
If that's acceptable,
Mm-hmm.
we'll do that instead of reading through the whole list again.
That's acceptable.
Okay. So that's the resolution.
Okay, we have a motion for the determination for the significance of seeker. We need a second.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Roll call.
Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Mr. Giardina?
Aye.
Mr. Kashani?
Aye.
Mr. Kosel?
Aye.
Mr. Mixel?
Aye.
Mrs. Moss?
Aye.
Okay, with that done, we have to do a motion for preliminary and a separate one for final. As Roger would always say, you gotta do two. Yeah. So I will make a motion for a preliminary, preliminary approval for the Birdsong at Conifer Cove subdivision, and we'll base that on, we do have some PRC comments, and I believe you did have those, and those were addressed. Make it subject to PRC comments. A letter of credit is posted with the town of Webster for the project. This is subject to any of the conservation boards minutes, the review of it. Subject to Monroe County Water Authority. Subject to a determination of the zoning board for there were no variances requested, so we don't need that. Address any land to be conveyed to the town, which would be the drainage section in there. All improvements shall be constructed in accordance with the specifications of the town of Webster. All road work construction is to be in accordance with specifications and regulations set forth by the town of Webster. All site work is to be in compliance with the standards of the town of Webster. Preserve all the mature trees on the site where possible and mark, and these were accomplished in their environmental impact statement and shows on their drawings where the trees are being preserved. Let's see. Let's see, you have to comply with all requirements of state, county, town agency. Applicant has addressed drainage, lighting, signage, landscape, no signage. We haven't done anything with signage. Landscaping, buffering, berming, and snow storage. Okay, we've covered that well for snow storage included. The landscape, hardscape site, accessories, and associated finished grade design for the development is prepared by a licensed landscape architect, and the final landscape plan shall bear the seal and signature of the landscape architect. And approvals are subject to drawing number, what is that drawing number? Can you see it? Yeah, we've had so many of them. There it is right there.
2910-01.
2910. Okay. And this project has complied to all the town codes. One thing I would like to put in there is, in addition to it, is if there's a proposal to sell any lots to individual developers, that there's unity in the development. In other words, elevations are to be maintained, finished floor elevations, whatever that drawing shows, that's what it has to be. Somebody isn't gonna just go down halfway and raise the house and that kind of thing. So I'd wanna see that in in your final drawings, a note. Okay? All right, I guess with that, I'd call that a preliminary approval. Need a second?
Second.
Mark?
Mr. Kashani?
Aye.
Mr. Giardina?
Aye.
Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Mr. Kosel?
Aye.
Mr. Mixel?
Aye.
Mrs. Malton?
Aye.
All right, for final approval, we've received all the paperwork, we've gone through everything on that subject. Make it subject again to the PRC comments. Make it subject to the Parks and Recreation fees, which would be determined by the town board. And make that subject to all preliminary approval conditions. And make it to all applicable governmental fees. And subject to Department of Public Works approvals. And significant construction shall occur within 1 year, as deemed by the planning board to expire on, what is this, November 12th, 2025. The conditions of preliminary and final approval are depicted on the cover sheet of the approved drawings. Final design, the engineers for the proposed project shall provide a letter of certification that all proposed work was completed as per planning board resolution of final approval before a certificate of occupancy will be issued. And a letter of credit to the town for the project shall include the fee for the engineer's final inspection, certification inspection of the site. All stormwater facilities are to be constructed first. That's all your drainage, swales, and so on. All downspouts connected to the storm sewer, and make that subject to the resolution of the final approved minutes. And approvals are subject to the drawing number again, 2910. And subject to and that would be it. That's a resolution for final approval.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second.
Mr. Kashani?
Aye.
Mr. Mixel?
Aye.
Mrs. Maltman?
Aye.
Mr. Kosel?
Aye.
Mr. Anderson?
Aye.
Mr. Giardina?
Aye.
Okay, with that, this project is closed. Thanks for coming in, and sorry for some that, didn't work out the way everybody wanted, but we did what we have to do. And I'm going to call for a 5-minute recess here, okay? Good explanation, you did well.
Mrs. Douglas.
We'll reconvene, get the meeting going again, okay?
First scheduled matter on tonight's agenda, detached garage replacement located at 786 Webster Road. The applicant, Thomas Dobbins, is requesting preliminary final site plan approval and a public hearing associated with the demolition of an existing garage
Good
and
evening.
shed to be
I'm
replaced
Tom
with the
Dobbins.
construction of a new 22 by 30, 660 square foot detached garage structure on a 0.25 acre parcel located in an R3 single-family residential district under sections 269-11 and 350-36 of the Code of the Town of Webster.
Yes, sir.
This up a little closer so
It's all right, she'll interpret for me. I got really bad hearing, I apologize.
Oh, that's okay. Can you hear us
Anyway,
okay?
We'll keep it short. We got zoning approval for this. We're moving the garage over 3 feet off the property line and making sure that it's 6 feet back from the house. A number of the properties in the area have larger garages than the 500 square feet that you're asking for. Presently, we can't really move it over much further because there's a handicap ramp there. If you look at the picture there. And we presently build wheelchairs for handicapped children. We've done about 3,000 of them so far. The garage is in poor repair. It doesn't really have a good foundation under it. It's been shored up in that. And just needs some more storage space.
So the new garage, it's 22 foot by 30 foot, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then you use this for doing your work that you do?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I don't see any issues with it. You received your variances already?
Yes.
Got your variances, right?
Variances?
Yes? Okay, anybody, any concerns with this?
No?
Nope.
I'm sure you're gonna make it to match the house, similar to what the house is?
It's gonna be a pole barn type structure,
Okay,
and it'll be in keeping with the house.
okay, so color-wise, you get it to
Yeah.
match somewhat?
We're gonna use the existing garage door
Mm-hmm,
on the new building as long as everything lines up. It's an old garage door.
okay.
Yeah, the
Okay.
garage door is about the only thing that works well on it.
Garage door's worth more than the whole garage, right?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was built back probably in the 50s. House dates back, there was no tape location map for the property. We did a tape location map, so the town has one now.
Mm-hmm, okay. Anybody? Derek, you okay with it?
I'm good.
All right.
I did provide a number of properties in the area that have larger,
Let me tell you a little something. I learned a long time ago, once you sell it, don't buy it back. I got your message. You're going good so far. I learned that a long time ago. We're all okay with this? All
Yep.
right.
Yeah.
Derek, you want
Yep.
to go ahead and move forward?
Got a resolution. Town of Webster Planning Board considered a request by Thomas Dobbins to demolish an existing detached garage and shed and construct a new 22 by 30, 660 square foot detached garage structure on a 0.25 acre parcel having SBL number 065.18-1-9, located at 786 Webster Road in an R3 single-family residential district. The planning board classifies the proposed action as a type 2 action under section 617.5C2 of the state environmental quality review regulations, and therefore is not subject to further review.
Okay, we have a motion, need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're good. Somebody want to make a motion for approval for the 22-foot by 30-foot garage? Okay, I'll make a motion for 22 by 30-foot garage located at, what is that, 786, the address, 786?
Yep.
Webster Road is presented, and the applicant has received all variances from the ZBA. The building will be constructed pole barn style with the same type garage door in the front, right?
yes, sir.
And colors are gonna match, basically match the house.
Correct.
Okay, that would be a motion.
Second?
Well, we can just call it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're good. You're all set.
Thank you for your time, appreciate it.
Did we do a final?
Yeah.
We did.
Yeah, significant construction,
What's that?
significant construction,
Yeah, that's fine.
okay.
Second item on
So you wanna
tonight's
start?
agenda, electric vehicle charging stations located at 1058 Ridge Road. Applicant Benny Tortoricchi is requesting preliminary final site plan approval on a public hearing associated with the installation of 4 Level 3 DCFC electric vehicle charging stations within Town Center Plaza on a 15.14 acre parcel located in a high-intensity commercial district under sections 269-11 and 350-19 of the Code of the Town of Webster.
Yes, sir.
Yes, so Benny Tortorici, PISO's lead design engineer, and I'm here with Ginger Boudreau, ChargePoint representative. And as we described, we're looking to put in four chargers. The entire system will consist of a utility transformer, a switchboard, 2 cabinets to serve the 4 chargers, and then the 4 chargers themselves. Bollards will be on the 4 chargers as listed in the drawings, and bollards covering the entire transformer surroundings. This particular section doesn't interrupt any of the existing landscaping, but it is also utilized in a manner that it doesn't make it terribly obvious that they're there. So it's...
Where are these located? I see your drawings,
Yes,
but I don't know where it's at.
Yeah. It's in the back portion of the parking lot. So in most cases, they ask us to put up greenery. Fortunately, in that space, we can use it to our advantage here.
Okay.
If signage is required elsewhere to kind of let people know that is where the chargers are located, we can do that. But generally, that's the entirety of the project we're seeking to install.
Okay.
Is there enough lighting around there at night, so if people wanna use it, they'll be well lit?
Yes, it's an excellent question. So we have 2 locations from existing lighting. If additional lighting is required, we can certainly put one more pole in just to add to the lighting, but there is sufficient lighting that exists there now.
All right, I don't see it as being an issue. It's just the core development's good with the location. Now, do you have to run electric out there, or?
Yes, we do. So again, if it's hard to see, but if you pull up a Google Maps image, there's an existing transformer just on the other side of the road that's there.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yes, well, we work with RGE, who are willing to pull off an extra set for us off of that transformer that feeds our location. We'd be separate metered, so they don't have an issue with that, and we'd be the only people on, or the only tenant on that particular.
Josh, you're pretty good with that.
Yep.
It took me a couple times to figure out where
Yeah,
it was.
I can see
but
that, man. You
got it.
zipped right into it. Very good. All right, anybody, any concerns on this? It's,
None.
I'm
I'm
good
good.
with it?
Yeah.
John,
No,
you guys are all right with it?
I was wondering where it was too there, I was looking, I couldn't figure out
Yeah,
where
no,
it
I couldn't
was.
either, because on the map, on the drawing we have, it just shows the location, but not on whereabouts. You wanna do a seeker?
And just kind of one quick question I had with this.
Yeah,
is
go
that
ahead.
These electrical charging stations, the whole things are new.
Yep.
So they're not specifically named in the town code. So I guess my question is that, would we as a board consider it more or less equivalent to a gasoline charging station, like a gas station, from perspective of providing fuel to a vehicle, in this case, electricity? Because that
Interesting.
makes it so it's covered underneath the zoning for the property. Because right now, when you look at the zoning for each of the parcels that we have, for the different classes we have, electrical substation or electrical charging stations aren't addressed. The closest thing which is allowed in this area is a gasoline station.
Didn't we put recently at,
Marina Dodge?
yeah, Marina?
Yeah,
put
we
those
did
in?
approve one there.
Yep, similar, kind of similar thing, just making sure that we as a board consider it equivalent to similar use in the area, because that's one thing that's.
It's not in the code.
Says in the code if we consider it equivalent, then it's.
Yeah,
Okay.
do it.
Okay. So also because it's so new, it's also winds up being an unlisted action because it's not listed
Yeah,
surprisingly right now in the current seeker documents. It's
okay.
anything. It was the last update they had. I was surprised that they didn't do it, and they didn't. Motion for unlisted action, negative declaration. Town of Webster Planning Board has considered a request by Benny Turkariki.
That's pretty good. You got tortellini a lot. Tortellini.
He'll take it.
To install 4 level 3 DCFE electric charging stations within the town center plaza on a 15.14 acre parcel having SBL number 079.16-1-2.11, located at 1058 Ridge Road in a high-intensity commercial district. The planning board determines that the proposed action is an unlisted action. The planning board determined that the action is subject to single agency review pursuant to Part 617.6B4 of seeker, and that it is the most appropriate agency for making the determination of significance. The planning board therefore designates itself lead agency for the proposed action. The planning board has given consideration to the criteria for determining significance as set forth in Part 617.7C1 of seeker, and has 1, considered the information contained in the short environmental assessment form, Part 1, dated August 26, 2024. Number 2, considered public comments directed towards the planning board during the public hearing on November 12, 2024. And number 3, completed parts 2 and 3 in the environmental assessment form, and those forms are completed. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Webster Planning Board hereby determines that the proposed action will not have a significant adverse effect on the environment for the reasons set forth in the attached notice of determination and non-significance. Be it further resolved that the Town of Webster Planning Board is authorized to take all actions reasonable and necessary to file a negative declaration and discharge the Town of Webster Planning Board's responsibility as lead agency for this action. Be it further resolved that the Town of Webster Planning Board, based on the information analysis above, the reference supporting documentation, and discussions of the action by the Town of Webster Planning Board as documented by these minutes for this meeting, that the proposed action will not result in any significant environmental impacts. Be it further resolved that the Town of Webster Planning Board therefore makes a determination of non-significance. Be it further resolved that the Town of Webster Planning Board, based on the above reasons, issues a negative declaration as evidence of its determination.
Okay, that being a motion, need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay.
Before we get to the approval, this is a public hearing. I think you opened it to the public hearing.
Is it listed as a public hearing?
Yeah.
I didn't even look at it.
It is.
Okay, is there anyone here wishing to comment on this, or no? Nobody? Okay, then we'll close the public hearing. Move on with it. That was easy. That's kind of like,
Thank you very much.
no, we're not done.
Oh.
No, that was just for the first part.
Ah,
That was just seeker, so we gotta get a motion. Somebody wanna make a motion for approval?
Is this preliminary and final, or?
Yeah, we have to do two.
It's listed
We have
as
to do two.
two,
Yeah, preliminary and final.
preliminary and final, so it's listed as a preliminary and final. So we have to make 2 motions. So if somebody wanna make a motion for preliminary? Go ahead, Jen.
I'll give it a shot here and give it
Yeah.
a little break. I'll make a motion for the electrical vehicle charging stations located at 1058 Ridge Road, subject to PRC comments. Seeing all necessary, no variances were required. I don't see anything else on here that,
As presented?
as presented.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 And I'll make a final approval for the charging station located at 1058 Ridge Road, subject to preliminary approval conditions, subject to all governmental fees. Significant construction shall occur within 1 year as deemed by the board to expire on November 12th, 2025. And I think that's subject to the resolution of the final approved minutes.
Second.
Okay. That's good. You need a, you got a motion, need a second.
We got a second.
Oh, he did, I need
Yeah.
him, I'm sorry. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so we're good. I guess you're all set now.
Okay. Thank you, board.
Have a
Appreciate
good
it.
night.
The third scheduled item on tonight's agenda, detached pole barn garage located at 751 Maple Drive. Applicant Ray Schlegel is requesting preliminary final site plan approval with a public hearing associated with the construction of a 22 by 28, 672 square foot detached pole barn garage on a 0.52 acre parcel located in an R3 single-family residential district under section 269-11 and 350-36 of the Code of the Town of Webster.
Mr. Schlegel,
Yes,
so what are you doing? You're building a garage?
pole barn, garage.
Yep. Anything you want to tell us about it?
It's 24 by 28 with 10-foot walls. And you should have the color of it to match the house.
Mm-hmm. You can pass those around. These are the
Yep,
colors if anybody
yep.
wants to see it. He's got the colors matching.
It's gonna be right on the side of the house?
You guys want to, pass it?
Is that gonna be on the side of the house?
It's going to be on the north side, yes.
Did you say it's a 24 by 28?
Yes,
Okay, because here it's got 22 by 28.
24 by 28.
Does that matter if he's off dimensions?
No, he's got it marked on there. It's 24 by 28 he's showing that. It was originally 30, was it?
Originally, I knocked it down to 28.
Yeah, okay. And the location doesn't conform for an accessory building, but I guess you received the variances on it, right? Got
He
variances, so
received-
you're all set with that?
Yes,
Yeah.
he got several variance approvals, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, and what's in the front there, Ray? You've got like a tree or something?
I beg your pardon?
There's a tree, yeah, there's a pine tree. Man,
Yeah.
Josh, you're good with this thing. Yeah,
That's where it's going to go, yes.
okay. And what's the front? Is front just metal? Are you putting anything on it, anything decorative or dress
It's
it
going to
up?
be a garage door on it.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's always good to have on a building.
It's going to be 4 foot off the driveway.
Yeah, all right. All right, anybody, any questions or?
No.
Nope.
Is there any electricity or water or heat out there?
No heat.
Just electricity and water?
It's going to be a garage.
Okay, garage, okay.
So you can use it for storage and stuff, basically?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, anybody, any questions or concerns? You guys are okay with it?
Could have a public hearing. Public hearing.
Yeah, it's a public hearing, that's right, too. Anybody want to speak in regard to this? Nobody? Okay, then we'll close the public hearing. Thanks for reminding me, I'm just rushing here. Go ahead, do seeker, sure.
Town of Webster Planning Board considered a request by applicant Ray Schlegel to construct a 24 by 28 detached pole barn garage on a 0.52 acre parcel having SBL number 063.19-1-9.1, located at 751 Maple Drive in an R3 single-family residential district. The planning board classifies the proposed action as a type 2 action under section 617.5C2. Or sorry, this is a new building, correct? So this is actually
Yes.
5C9 of the state environmental quality review regulations, and therefore is not subject to further review.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, we're good. Somebody wanna make a motion for approval, preliminary approval?
I guess I can try it again here. I'll make a
Sure.
motion for Ray Schlegel for, yeah, we requesting to build a pole barn garage at 751 Maple Drive. Detached pole barn to 28 by 28. Subject to PRC comments. He's obtained all the necessary variances. Improvements shall be constructed according to specifications of the town of Webster. All site work is completed with the standards of the town of Webster. Requirements is depicted all preliminary design, proceed, okay, and that's, I think that's the motion as presented there.
Second.
Okay, have a motion, have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'll make the
Final?
final approval for Ray Schlegel for the attached pole barn garage located at 751 Maple Drive. Subject to preliminary approval conditions. Significance of construction shall occur within 1 year as deemed by the planning board to expire on November 12th, 2025. The condition of approval are depicted on the final site plans. Credit. And subject to the final resolution of the subject resolution of final approved minutes. There's something else I was gonna add. Did I miss something?
Construction in a year? Did you
Yeah,
have
I did that, yeah.
You got that? Okay, yeah, that's it then.
Okay, all right.
Okay, have a motion, need a second.
Second.
Have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we're good. Okay, I guess we're good. You're all set?
Thank
Ray?
you very much.
Okay, good luck with the project.
Thank you.
Next item on tonight's agenda, grocery outlet located at 980 Ridge Road. The applicant Cindy Callahan Greenberg Farrow is requesting preliminary site plan approval along with a public hearing associated with the interior fit-out of a new grocery store in Webster Plaza, including minor exterior changes on a 17.03 acre parcel located in a high-intensity commercial district under sections 269-11 and 350-19 of the Code of the Town of Webster.
Yes, sir.
Hello, my name is Ivan Hinov. I work for Greenberg Farrow, who's the architect for Grocery Outlet. I could give a brief description of Grocery Outlet. They're a bargain market, which is a full-service grocery store which offers the very best fresh produce, meat and organic products. They carry NOSH, which is an abbreviation for Natural, Organic, Specialty, and Healthy Discounted Food. The project includes a full tenant build-out for the interior. The existing space, from our understanding, has been empty for 10-plus years. All interior construction and finishes will be brand new, and we're doing a few minor exterior improvements, which include new automatic sliding entry doors with protective bollards, a new overhead roll-up door for on-grade receiving, a new metal canopy over that roll-up door, and painting of the exterior as we show on the exterior elevations. I can answer any questions about the drawings.
You're going to have a sign on the building?
Yes, however, that's going to be submitted separately by Grocery Outlet signage vendor. It's not included as part of this application.
Okay. Now, with one of the issues in past years is because of it being in that corner, is parking. How do you designate the parking in there? Is there, like, you know, that color me thing there? Do they get designated parking spots or any, you don't know, maybe?
So, we're not proposing to make any changes to the square footage of the existing tenant space, so, you know, whatever parking is already there is assumed to be enough. I will say that all of the loading will be at the back of the building. We're not going to cause any further congestion due to that. And we don't believe it to be an issue because, generally speaking, the Grocery Outlet customers are not occupying the parking lot for a long period of time. The average customer goes in and out of the building fairly quickly.
What is the square footage of the building? I saw it once, but
I thought it was 20,000 something.
I forgot, I saw it.
For the space, yeah. The space is 20,390
Is that what
square
it is?
feet. Just the space.
Is there a loading dock in the back of the building for you guys?
Yes, there is a loading dock at the back. It's shown on that site plan. So that's actually the loading dock for the adjacent tenant, which is the, I believe it's I forget what it is, but.
Savers.
Savers.
Yeah, exactly. Ours is slightly above that. It's yeah, that space where you have your mouse over right now, and that's just on-grade loading.
Where's the grocery carts gonna be?
So the grocery carts are gonna be located at an exterior cart corral that's on the sidewalk. It's shown directly in front of the space.
Okay, that's a good point you brought up. Being a confined area, have you looked at anything like Aldi's? I think that is one of the nicest setups, where people put a quarter and get it, because this parking lot, you surely don't want to have carts left out, in the parking lot.
Tony, they don't do that anymore.
They don't?
No.
Really?
Yeah, my wife went shopping there a couple days ago.
Is
and
that
I noticed
right?
it was gone. They don't have the area, at least I didn't see it. They used to have it at the side of the building.
Yeah,
With
by the front door.
Right, and there's nothing there.
Okay.
People were taking the shopping carts and going to their cars.
I always thought that was a good idea, because it minimized the.
Yeah, you always put your cart back.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And then, especially with the parking situation, as you mentioned, a gust of wind's gonna blow a shopping cart into the side of a car and scratch it all up, and you're gonna have a lot of upset people.
Now, would they put, once people take groceries in a cart, and they take it out to their vehicle, where do they do with it then?
So typically, they will have some cart corrals in the parking lot spaces.
They'll have a couple spaces?
Yeah, usually it's only a couple. We don't show it on our site plan here, but typically the owners will put that in after the fact, yes.
I think it should be shown where it's going to be.
Yeah, because I don't know where they're gonna fit in this
Yeah.
parking lot.
And a couple, it may not suffice. I mean, if you got a lot of customers there, you're gonna need more than just 2 spaces to put a cart in as you're leaving. Because as I said again, you're gonna end up in a situation where cars are gonna get damaged because somebody left a cart out and the wind, gust of wind blew it into the side of the car and scratched it up or did more serious damage.
Yeah, I can say that grocery outlet has a very low average of, the amount of money spent per customer. On average, they only spend about $30 per visit, which in some, most cases wouldn't even require you to use a shopping cart. So they typically don't have too many of those cart corrals, and we're hoping it won't be an issue.
Well, if you consider doing like what Wakeman's does, you have the tote bags, at least I think that's what my wife carries into when she goes shopping. And instead of having the carts, have the carry bags, take
Yeah,
it to your car.
people do that anyways.
Now, there's a couple other, there's at least one other location in the county for grocery outlets right now, isn't there?
Yeah, they've been developing a lot in the northeast, and I know that we're also doing one in Irondequoit, I believe that's how it's pronounced.
Irondequoit?
Irondequoit, sorry.
For the other locations, particularly the ones in the county, what do they do with the carts there?
Like I said, they typically, I think, will have at least 2 of those cart corrals in the parking lot. But we also do have that one on the sidewalk that we're showing there, which, should be able to fit all the carts necessary for the store.
My store has carts too.
What does?
Yeah, and we just usually bring them back.
Yeah, but, some people do, but some don't,
The pet store has carts, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
because I go in there all the time.
All right, well, all right, I think the consideration is to try and see if you can fit a couple of spaces there for the carts, at least one to start with. If you need to have two, you might have to, we don't know.
Okay, yeah.
But something should be there, just, to have accommodate them. And the others are on, Josh, have you got a picture of that front again, and, yeah. There's not an overhead of it, is there, or is there? I'm just curious, how big is that sidewalk in the front where they can? In other words, if you put carts, is there still room to negotiate walking? There you go, there you go.
Yeah.
So that would be in
Lot of
that corner there, maybe? I mean, you
I
can't put
believe
them over
we
here.
provided a floor plan that shows it.
This is huge.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that's the area,
Do there.
yeah. Okay, all
Is
right.
that fixture plan PDF? It's shown, yep, to the right of the
Yeah.
entry.
Uh-huh. There's a door, there's existing egress door right there. But that area, I suppose, yeah, okay, all right, you've got it figured out, there's room there, just how to lay it out. Okay. Anybody, any other issues? I think that was a good one, was the parking, parking lot.
This
Yeah,
is a,
that's-
this is a
The
public
grocery
hearing
carts?
too.
Exterior car corral. There's room there, yeah, no issues. All right,
Public
was it
hearing.
a public hearing? Yeah, okay, is there anyone here wishing to speak? Either for or against this? I don't want you girls arguing, if you wanna come on up, you can. Yes, ma'am. Oh, what's that? Wait a minute, what's that? I can't hear you.
Cobblestone.
Oh, okay.
They're here for the next one.
I can't hear you, hon.
Can you go back to the
Color photo.
actual colorful photo?
Oh, the color photo? Like that?
No, the actual.
That one?
store.
Is the curbing down so that you can get a wheelchair over it or a shopping cart?
Yes.
Yep.
Mhm.
Okay, we do have it. Very good, thank you.
Okay, mm-hmm. All right, that's it, we'll close the public hearing. Back up, anybody, any concerns with this?
It's a permitted use for the space.
What's that?
It's a permitted use for the
Oh,
space.
yeah,
so
yeah,
I wouldn't
absolutely,
have any-
yeah.
Yeah, used to have a Star Market in there.
Yeah, it used to
I
be.
know, I remember that.
Yeah, okay, how far back you wanna go? You guys remember when Bell's was there, when they built the building? Ha, gotcha.
Nope.
That's right, it was Star Market.
That's a long time ago. Anyways, okay. Yeah, there's no issues with it. It's existing building's in great shape. And it's good to see the building occupied too.
Yes, yes.
Yep.
That's a plus for it. All right, you want to go ahead and do a,
So because this project is 20,000 square feet, it's an unlisted action. Town of Webster Planning Board consider request by applicant Cindy Callahan. She actually works for Greenberg Farrell, right?
Yeah, she works
Yeah,
for the
and
same company as me.
It's not a continuation of the name, it's two different names, right? Cindy Callahan with Greenberg Farrell for an interior fit-out of a new grocery store for Webster Plaza, including minor exterior changes on a 17.03 acre parcel having SPL number 079.15-1-3.1 located at 980 Ridge Road in a HC high-intensity commercial district. The planning board determines that the proposed action is an unlisted action. The planning board determined that the action is subject to single agency review pursuant to Part 617.6B4 of seeker, and that it is the most appropriate agency for making the determination of significance. The planning board therefore designates itself lead agency for the proposed action. The planning board has given consideration for the criteria for determining significance as set forth in section 617.7C1 of seeker, and has, one, considered the information contained in the short environmental assessment form, Part 1, dated September 18th, 2024. Number 2, considered comments directed to the planning board during the public hearing on November 12th, 2024. And 3, has completed parts 2 and 3 of the environmental assessment form. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Webster Planning Board hereby determines that the proposed project will not have a significant adverse effect on the environment for the reasons set forth in the attached notice of determination and non-significance. Be it further resolved that the Town of Webster Planning Board is authorized to take all actions reasonable and necessary to file a negative declaration and discharge the Town of Webster Planning Board's responsibility as lead agency for the action. Be it further resolved that the Town of Webster Planning Board, based on the information analysis above, the reference supporting documentation, and discussions of the action by the Town of Webster Planning Board as documented by the minutes for this meeting, that the proposed action will not result in any significant environmental impacts. Be it further resolved that the Town of Webster Planning Board therefore makes a determination of non-significance. Be it further resolved that the Town of Webster Planning Board, based on the above reasons, issues a negative declaration as evidence of its determination.
Okay, need a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Preliminary, you wanna make a motion for preliminary?
Yeah, I can make a motion for preliminary for the grocery outlet located at 980 Ridge Road. Applicant Cindy Callahan is requesting associated with the interior fit of a new grocery store in Webster Plaza, including minor exterior changes. Subject to the PRC comments, Conservation Board, I don't think there's any variances required. No, all improvements shall be constructed according to specifications of the Town of Webster. All site work is to be in compliance with the standards of the Town of Webster. Requirements, and that's the motion.
Might wanna put the cart return thing, a couple of spaces, a space maybe?
Yeah, you space out in the parking
A
lot there
space
for a car.
A space
Yeah,
with potential more may be needed, but a space for the grocery carts
okay, all
in
right,
the parking lot?
all right. And there's also gonna be grocery, cart return right in front of the store.
Yes,
too,
yes.
so, okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. We'll call roll.
Mr. Kosel,
Aye.
Mr. Mixel,
Aye.
Mrs. Maltman,
Aye.
Mr. Anderson,
Aye.
Mr. Giardino,
Aye.
Mr. Kashani.
Aye. Okay, wanna do a final?
I'll make a final
This should
motion
be
for the
easy.
grocery outlet located at 980 Ridge Road, subject to preliminary approval conditions, subject to all governmental fees, significant, do we have to do significant construction?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
it
should, just put that
shall
in.
occur within 1 year as deemed by the planning board to expire on November 12th, 2025. Engineer letter of credit and subject to the resolution of final approved minutes.
Okay, need a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we're good, all right. Okay, you're all set.
Thank you.
Okay,
Next application is Cobblestone Place Phase 2, located at 1025 Ravenside Lane. Applicant Even Van Epps of Brickwood Management is requesting sketch plan review associated with the construction of a 3-story, 47-unit market rate residential apartment building on a 5.0 acre parcel located in a medium-high residential district under section 269-5 of the Code of the Town of Webster.
gentlemen,
Good evening. My name's Jay Calabrese. I'm with Marathon Engineering, and I'm with Luke Van Epps with Brickwood Management. Oh, you said hello, sorry. And we're here to present the Cobblestone Phase 2 project. To give you a little background before we jump into it, it was previously designed by Passero Associates as a senior 2-phase facility. As you can see up on the screen, Phase 1 was completed, or I believe approved by the board around 2015. and as well with Phase 2, but the existing developer was only able to get funding for tax credit purposes for the senior living for Phase 1. So that is why they have parceled off kind of the two buildings, as you can see, the existing and the proposed. And yeah, thanks, thanks Josh for outlining the new property line. So we are now proposing to take that building layout, and we are going to do a 3-story, 47-unit apartment complex with it'll be market rate and no age restrictions in the new proposed building. Let's see. The variances, just to kind of walk through them, that were approved in 2015. I'll just run through kind of the code as well as the others. So the units, per the town code, is 8 units per acre. Initially, back in 2015, it was approved for 12 units per acre, and now we are going below that to a 9.4 units per acre. It's a 5-acre site, just to give a little reference. Parking as well, the code is 2 spots per unit. And then back in 2015, it was approved at 1.1 spaces per unit, and we are going to propose a 1.8 spots per unit. And then kind of to go back to that property line that was newly formed, that is going to be a variance that we are going to need to go to the zoning board for. It's going to be considered a front setback. It's roughly at 17 feet. With that being said, it's very similar to, actually the building that we are proposing is within reason, the exact same building layout as it was back in 2015, so it's kind of a mirror image across that access road. Stormwater, that was planned for in the Passero plans back in 2015, so we're just going to utilize that, send all of our stormwater to that treatment facility. And I believe on our end, that is all I got. Do you have anything to add at this point?
Yeah, originally I believe this building was approved.
Into the mic, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Originally, this building was approved for a 60-unit single bedroom apartments for senior living. And we've reworked it to be a mix of about 80% 2 bedrooms and 20% 1 bedrooms. And that's brought the unit count down to 47. And, you know, as far as the parking issue, there's also, in the building on the first level, there's also garages as well for some of the units. What's that count again? 10. Yeah, there's 10 garages as well to add to the parking, which I don't believe is included in that 1.8 count. So that's a little additional parking on top of that as well.
How many parking spots do you have?
I believe it is 84. And then just per the code, it would be 94, and we're proposing, so we're going to be at 84, sorry, 84 spaces.
Plus the 10.
Plus the 10 within the building.
And what have you got, is there any open space, anything?
So actually what we did compared to the Passero plans is we've actually tried to limit the amount of pavement. So on it would be the east side, we've kind of bumped back that buffer as well as from the south of the property. Yes, exactly, yes. So those areas are from the 2015 plans, those have been expanded to have a little bit more green space.
Pictures always look pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And that building is going to complement what is existing.
Now, what do they do on the outside of these? I mean, like, some sort of an amenity, I mean, are benches or tables or anything?
Yeah, we typically, you know, we didn't really,
Microphone.
we didn't include this in the plans, but we typically put like a gazebo and some picnic table areas. You know, the site's a little limited, but we try to utilize the green space as much as possible. And we usually do that. We're the construction company, but we're also the management company as well. So we'll be managing this property after the fact. So we typically try to put as many amenities in the space as possible.
Okay, there were a few, where did I see them, the PRC comments here somewhere.
Sure.
Did you see them at all, or have you guys got, there's only a few of them. I don't know if you've got a copy of them.
I did not,
Here, I can give you this, and here you can take them, you can just address them, there's just a few of them on there, there's nothing earth-shattering, it's under Cobblestone.
Here, do you need mine?
No, that's okay.
You sure?
Yeah.
Yep. So I do see that we'll have to expand to the 25-foot, or sorry, the 26-foot drive lanes. I think we're proposing 25, but again, we have good real estate to get that done. That should be no issue. And I know during our initial conversation with the town is that the water was brought up on whether that will be private or not, and we'll work with the water authority to try to have them take over ownership, but if not, we'll have to just do similar what was done, I believe, for phase one, which is hot box, and have that piped. And then, as it says here, we can work on trying to keep those, or we can get those manholes to remain private.
Okay.
I believe those manholes are gonna be sanitary.
And the sewer department, you're okay, that's all right.
Is this the same owner as the original existing building?
No.
Two totally different.
No, yeah, that's why the parcel line, that was actually the phasing line for the previous owner, and then they just parceled it off.
So what type of arrangements do you have in place for access for using, looks like it would be their road to access your development?
So the access would still kind of remain off, I believe it's Riverside Lane, or Ravenside, sorry, Ravenside Lane, and then
Ravenside, yeah.
we'll have the vehicle, the emergency vehicle access throughout the entire site. So as you can see, there's kind of a loop road around the building.
Sure, but is Ravenside a private road, or is that?
It is I believe it is a town, no, private, is it a private road?
So you would have to have some kind of access agreement?
Yeah.
Maintenance agreement?
Yep.
Does anyone know if there's any, when the original project was approved, if there's any kind of restrictions or things that we should be aware of from the original approval that may impact this?
I think we've overcome, the one issue I did discover was there was some 40 or 50-year agreement that the original developer engaged in with the federal government for the tax credits. And there was some language that it had to be age and income restricted for a period of 40 or 50 years. So when we brought that to the real estate agent who was marketing the property's attention, they went back to VOA and they provided confirmation that that original agreement had been amended to exclude the remaining lands that never got built upon. So that's the only thing that I was aware of.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? Anybody?
Is there enough room for snow removal, replace, or put snow, move?
Yes,
Yeah,
yep.
you get a lot of green space there.
And then we're not showing it on here just because it's a sketch hand, but we will put a site for garbage and a dumpster utility area. Or actually, yeah.
I'm always curious when I have these new facilities come up, if you have thought about, or is there, excuse me, is there the option to have a generator for power in case power goes out, especially if this is for people my age?
It's open.
I know we haven't thought of anything yet, but that's absolutely something that we can look into and see if that's something that we can add to it.
Okay.
Dinosaurs lived without power before.
And I'm sure you got elevators in these units for three-story, right? Yeah, no problem.
It's not just for people.
All right, anything else? Anything
I
that's,
thought I'd add that for a little bit of few
Will
minutes.
we be able to talk when they're done?
do you want to talk?
Yeah.
Sure, we'll let you talk.
Our concerns that we have.
We live at 1023 Cobblestone.
You guys live right there, right?
Yeah, we live there.
All right, who wants, you want to say something? All right, why don't one of you come up? You probably all have the same, whoever wants to speak, go ahead. Tell us what you want to say.
As you see, I use a cane.
That's a girl.
My name is Mary Randall, and I live at 1023 Cobblestone in apartment 307, so I'm up in the bird's nest. We have a lot of concerns. The concerns are, I believe the eldest person in our place is 90 years old, and she uses a rollator. A lot of us use canes and rollators to go to our cars. This is going to be family structure, yes? It's a family structure with children. And are they gonna have bicycles and skateboards?
They might.
This is a problem. And
Gosh darn kids.
And bicycles, and school buses. And when you look at, there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of concerns. We get a lot of deliveries. Every day, Amazon is in there, FedEx, all kinds of deliveries, food deliveries.
So your biggest concern is traffic and stuff in there?
Well, we got a lot of concern.
No, wait a minute, can't,
Okay, come on.
one
just
person
let-
speaking, that's it.
Talk to me, and I'll talk to them. Okay?
You tell them, honey.
No, I've done this sort of thing a lot over the years.
I can
My
tell,
fath-
you
my
could.
father- My father was an attorney, and my husband was on a board, on a village board, so I've done a lot of this. But anyhow, see that first curve, that 90-degree curve coming in?
Yeah,
You can't get a car, and there's parking spaces there, and people do park there, whether they're visitors or whether they live there. You can't get a FedEx van and a car around that corner at the same time. You even go down to the other, and there's another one. There's what is it, the U-Haul place there. So there's another 90-degree turn there. You can't get a car and a van around that. We have those problems all through that particular area. Even on, what is that? Coming in Harmony. Harmony, there's a 90-degree turn there. You get those big honking pickup trucks and all sorts of things, and you get people walking. There's kids that walk home from school there. I mean, we got a lot of traffic in that area. And all you're doing here is, again, adding more traffic. And it's gonna cause a lot of unhappy people in there because of being elderly. We're used to being quiet. I live in the front side of Ravenside, up in the 3rd floor. I get to see the deer and and Hank and Millie, the gophers, and.
Okay,
we've
we
even
think we
given
got the
them names.
picture of what you're
But
talking
we've got a
about.
lot of issues in there. How are these gonna be resolved, Jeff?
We'll have them, ma'am,
Yeah.
Mary, we'll have them address all that stuff.
Okay.
This is just the beginning of it here, so they'll
We get
redesign,
there,
they'll
but it's-
change things, there's gonna be,
Right, it's just food for thought.
this is just a sketch of what they're proposing, okay?
Right. It's a very pretty building, but I think it's gonna be a,
See, you may be moving.
yeah.
Yeah, no, we've gotta quit, we gotta end now, because if we go over 10 o'clock, they'll tow our cars away out here.
Microphone.
All right, wait, hold on, girls. This is just a sketch plan right now. This is not a hearing. No, that'll be the next meeting. That'll be the next meeting. We'll do that. You guys are attacking me now. Thanks, ladies. Thank you.
Yeah, actually, of course. Yeah, yep. No, the school bus is a very good point.
Have a good night, ladies.
There's gotta be.
Good night. It's okay, I might be moving in there. Okay. All right, anything else? She brought up a point about the curve in the road there. That looks like a standard ordinary curve though, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's, unfortunately, it's nothing on our site. If there is a problem, I don't know if it necessarily falls on our design,
Yeah,
unfortunately, but,
all right, well, there's not much else we can do with this. You're gonna
No,
be coming back in for
yeah, so I think just to,
preliminary. You can keep those comments, you can address them
okay,
on your
perfect, yeah, that'd be
drawings,
great.
okay?
And then I think our next step, I believe, there's a submission for zoning board this upcoming, or the 19th, so we'll get on that, and then probably soon after, give more of a preliminary final application in the next couple months. But,
Okay,
awesome, thank you very much for your
thanks a
time.
lot. Have a good night, fellas.
Yep, you as well.
All right, last item on tonight's agenda is Vision Nissan located at 785 Ridge Road. Applicant Robert Sanders is requesting sketch plan review associated with the construction of a 1,400 square foot, 50 by 28 enclosed addition for vehicle service area entry and building facade improvements on a 2.4 acre parcel located in an MC medium intensity commercial district under section 269-5 of the Code of the Town of Webster.
Hi again. I started your evening and I'm ending it, I think.
Yeah, I know it.
Link Swedrock
Hopefully
with
on a better note.
BME. I'm gonna not talk a lot. I'll talk quick and do my best here. So we were here, I don't know, back in June, for this project. It hasn't, basically, you had a lot of concerns, the town had a lot of concerns about the site and the operation of the site. The applicant has since, purchased additional property, moved 100 cars off the site, and is loading and unloading at the other location now, and not unloading and loading on Ridge Road, which was one of the concerns that the town had. This is a new owner. They purchased it in September 9th of 2022, so they're trying to work with the town, trying to make sure that they are listening and doing the things that the town is looking for. We met staff out there for a meeting in September and went through the concerns that the town had. This plan has been revised to sort of further delineate access around the building and how we're redelineating for the new building addition. This building addition is for dropping off vehicles, so people, when they're dropping off their vehicles for service, know where to go. Because right now, a lot of the confusion and congestion is coming because they don't know where to drop their vehicles off. This gives them somewhere to go, pull into the garage, get out of their car, give their keys to the desk, drop their car off for service, and then they can go on their way with their day. So we've, this is the same, we're just doing facade improvements and that building addition, which is just mainly for the, like I said, for dropping off cars for service. There were formerly variances granted, about the 50-foot rear setback line was granted by the ZBA in August of 2017. And and then there was another variance that was done on the property line to the west to reduce that setback that the ZBA granted a variance for, that's on the approved original site plan. We're trying to honor the setbacks that were originally approved. And we did go back and look at that back area. There is a berm that's there in between that residential area. And there is a good buffer there. It does look like there's some stone that goes over that buffer that we're planning to remove. And then we've tried to delineate all this on the site plan. This is a sketch plan, so if you think we're going in the right direction, I'll stop talking and we'll come back for a site plan and answer any questions you got. How's that?
You learn. Once you buy it, don't sell it back. Yeah, we actually were on the site, and that was the biggest concern I had at the time, was the buffer in the back. And they do meet the buffer in the rear, and it's heavily vegetated. You can't even see through it there. And apparently the applicant has bought another piece of land somewhere. Because one of the issues we always had were vehicles parked there, you know, on the road unloading, and now there is no unloading of vehicles.
How do they
on the
bring the
site.
cars over?
They transport, they drive them.
They drive them.
They just drive them?
Yeah.
They've changed that side there, so anyways, with the reduction in it, and they're showing where the 25-foot passway is there, this is a whole lot better than when they first came in with it.
There was a PRC comment about marking that fire lane, which we will add to
Yes.
the plan as well.
And then one of the questions also was the, let's see, confirmed there's a stormwater pond maintenance agreement?
Yeah, we'll have to look into that. I don't-
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have
So
to.
you want to note that, so you've got that.
Yeah, we'll have to look, I'll have to do some research because the owner's changed and.
Yeah. Now, I don't know, the pond, the big pond that's right there, they cleaned that all out. That's on the other parcel. But
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know how
right there.
I don't know what kind of an agreement there was for the whole thing. But that's a quite large detention pond right there.
Yeah, I'll have to do some more research on.
I believe there's one in the back also, isn't there, Josh, in the back corner?
Yes.
Right? I think there is. All right, anyways, that's something you can address at preliminary. Anybody, any concerns or questions on that? You okay with it? What's that?
Yeah, as long as they're not gonna be delivering cars there anymore.
No, I think he might have that. You can give it to him, I suppose. Have you got the PRC comments on it?
I haven't seen them. I was
Okay, why
at the
don't you take this
PRC.
here?
I tried to
Here,
write them
we'll give you-
down,
you
but I
can
might
take
have
it.
missed
There's
some.
just a few of them on there.
All right, yeah, if they're coming in an email, I can just.
Yeah, they were just finalized
Here.
today with the holiday. We weren't able
Yeah,
to get
sure.
them out
No problem.
to everybody.
There's just a few of them on there, it's not a big deal. All right? Okay, with that, I guess,
Now, it doesn't impact this project, just curious. This parcel I know has been in
oh,
several
yeah.
times over the years, putting things on. At one time, they were gonna put a bump out on the east side of the building.
Yeah, 5-foot bump out.
Was that ever built?
No.
I don't remember the building ever being torn off and rebuilt.
I don't think so.
No.
Okay.
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh, there it is.
Or is that is back there?
That must be it.
That would have been previous owner probably, but that bump out looks like it goes all the way down.
Yeah, it was supposed to give access for better vehicle maintenance on the inside at one point. But I just don't ever remember it being built.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just show a little bump out there and then it's straight all the way back, so I don't know if that was done for the service base.
Okay, that was just more curiosity than anything else.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
Okay, you're all set for tonight, I guess.
Okay, thank you.
Was there something else on there too, I saw?
Oh, that's it.
Was there another item on there?
No?
Was it? That was the last one?
That was it.
Okay, all right, just a minute then. Minutes were from.
We got minutes for.
Minutes for the 17th. Oh, September 3rd. September 17th and October 1st. October 1st, somebody else is gonna have to sign them because I wasn't here.
Why can't you sign them?
Because I wasn't here for the October 1st meeting.
I thought you were just signing because we gave you approval to sign. All right.
Yeah, I sent you stuff out of it. You're okay. I can sign that.
Okay.
That's no problem.
All right,
Just make gotta make a motion. to
I make a
approve. What are
motion.
the dates?
make a motion to approve the September 3rd, September 17th, and October 1st meeting minutes.
Okay, I need a motion, need a second.
I'll
for
second
approval?
it.
Have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we're good then. And the other ones were-
You know who's not here tonight?
9:17.
Tony,
What's that?
you know who's not here tonight?
Yeah, Dave.
The camera guy.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
I just noticed that. That was the first
All
thing.
right, I guess that's it, folks. Thanks for coming in. We're done for the
I
evening.
guess so, yeah.
No, okay.
He just has to sign the last one.
Okay, all right.
Well, I hope your guy can get your leads there, Derek.
It's one of those things that you gotta take